cast a powerful magic spell to bring you all with him to Jaland. And so you guys at some point all meet together. You lie down on the ground, heads pointing towards one another, and Jiri casts the spell, A Dream of the Blue Veil. And you all enter into Jiri's mind, right? His the dark expanse, an inch of water atop of a glass dark surface that's perfectly smooth, and there's a tree in the center that grows all the way up to the sky, and creates this big kind of neural network structure. And he has you guys climb up this tree all the way up to the very, very tippy top, where you see kind of lodged in this like glass dome a cork, like a giant cork, like from like a champagne bottle, right? And maybe Talpirion, with the aid of Roulette and Toby Rama, maybe we all somehow like team up to like push this cork open. And as we do, the sudden gust of wind kind of draws us up through this opening, and we all kind of disperse and dematerialize, kind of like when Jiri turns into a gaseous form. And goes bright, actually, not dark. Like it doesn't fade; it actually goes to white. And each of our spirits find their way traveling towards one of these characters in Jaland, binding with it, binding with their spirit. And now we're going to be jumping into the shoes of these different characters that we are going to be playing. So that's kind of like the intro from a Eridon perspective. But from our new campaign perspective, I'm going to start by kind of reading something from a journal. That is, I want to change up the tune so that you guys can kind of hear some backstory a little bit. And we'll get started.
Jahara.
Yeah. This comes from the Journal of Ja Gentoo, nephew to Adras, king of Jaland. It's dated 11/4/53, third, and last degree of the Golden Season. Here lies Gentoo's final words. I write this, on the eve of battle. Tomorrow, the first degree of the Platinum Season, our conquest comes to an end. Defeat or victory lay before us, yet I find myself unable to focus on the tasks ahead. Our brothers, at this very moment, sit at council, the leaders and generals of the three kingdoms of Jaland, Pyrrhus, Egos, and Harko. Discussed strategy for the assault on Castle Jaw, but I had not the patience or focus to stay. I left to a chorus of murmurs and a myriad of puzzled looks. My thoughts, as of late, drifted like smoke caught in tempestuous winds. They wandered, as they often do, to the soul of Jaland. Undoubtedly, my brothers and I will face Drakkar in the throne room where the orb awaits me, an object of singular importance. In all of Orin, no greater anomaly exists. Where did it come from? How was it created? If its brilliance truly is dimming, can it be saved? I have studied its history more than any Jinling. Yet, until I see it, I will never truly be able to uncover its secrets. What might I learn? The question fills me with equal parts excitement and dread. If this is my last entry that I write, I offer apologies to those in attendance this evening for my aloofness. I meant no disrespect. To my brothers, if they survive and I should perish, I have but one request. Continue my research, for nothing else can save Jaland. To more brighter topics. I want to move you guys to the map of Jaland. This is what I created. Okay, so to kind of describe how this map works, you gotta imagine it kind of 3D. I had to do it on like a 2D image generator, but you can kind of see the, try my best to make like a teardrop shape, right? And that's of like the tempestuous winds, and outside of it is the chaos winds of Jaland. And it kind of looks like it's flat, but you gotta imagine the 3 or the 4 kingdoms, the orbiting kingdoms. Right here, right here,
It's
right
almost like
here.
a D8, like an
Here.
octahedron.
Yeah, those kind of circle around, and then this line of islands right here would be like in the center of it, like stacked though, right? One on top of the other, like dishes stacked together, right? But there's space in between them. And then these four circle around the outside of it. This one. Yeah, what I'm saying? So those kind of orbit around this kind of center stack, Jaland down at the bottom of the center, and then the hive up at the top. Does that make sense? Am I doing a good job of describing
Yep,
that to you guys?
absolutely.
All right, fantastic.
The
So
hive
Jaland,
being an actual hive.
it literally is, yes. By all accounts, Jaland is a place of beauty and wonder. It is the land of ever-present light and brilliant colors, of calm winds and fragrant scents, of temperate air and warm water, not too hot and certainly not anywhere near cold, of verdant flora and diverse fauna, and finally of a people who are generally considered good. They stick to their own business and rarely do they stray from their own intended path in life. So those if anybody came from the material plane to Jalan, yeah, they would absolutely describe this place as beautiful, right? The light, it's always ever bright there. There are no shadows. The wind is always calm if you're on one of the skylands. There's a magic that actually creates this pristine environment. The trees and the plants and the animals have adapted to this environment, and that is where we are going to start off. And we are specifically going to start our campaign on this little skyland right here, up top, Elker.
Quick
It's
question.
along the spine. Yeah, what's up?
Did you say where Ithaca was in this teardrop? And I may have missed that part. Sorry.
Ithaca floats around. It does not stay in one place, so it could be found
the
anywhere.
other four go around that vertical axis.
Yeah, the other four rotate around, and that's how their calendar works. Every time Pyrrhus comes back around, as it kind of slowly rotates around. Every time Pyrrhus comes back around, so I guess pointing northward, if you want to imagine it that way, that is a year. And their days are counted in degrees. So there's 360 days in a year, and 1 degree is approximately 1 day. Because there's no nighttime ever. It's always perpetually daylight. And then they have 4 seasons, each one for which skyland is pointing north, and it'll depend on that wind. So when Pyrrhus is north, that would be silver season. When it is Uparsha, it would be platinum. Harko, it would be gold. When it is Gigos, it would be copper. So based on the metals. And you kind of have to imagine this land as like a network of these tunnels where there is calm wind. So between Jalan and Harko, there are going to be a series of tunnels. Between Jalan and Gigos, right? Between all of the 4 orbiting kingdoms and the islands, there are these kind of wind tunnels that can allow people to safely travel through them. Otherwise, the Temessus winds are very dangerous. But even more dangerous are the chaos winds. Nothing can survive outside of the influence of the soul of Jaland, which is this orb. It's like a sun, but a little bit smaller, much smaller than our sun, right? It's about the size of a house, let's say. So nowhere near the size of our sun, yet it holds this entire galaxy together with its influence, with its magical power. And so we are going to start our campaign off in Selkirk. It is 3 days until the linking of the Wind Festival. A 5th wind has been found or discovered in Jaland from a mysterious object known as the Hive. 7 years ago, the Hive materialized almost seemingly out of nowhere. Mysterious inhabitants are giant bees that kind of have stuck to themselves and have very rarely interacted with the people of Jaland. However, the influence of such a large object inside the sphere's influence, or the orb, the soul of Jaland's influence, has started to develop a new and 5th wind, the Amber Wind. And in 3 days, the wind will finally connect to Selkirk, the first island in the chain. 1 year ago, it was supposed to connect to Corsica, but the island mysteriously vanished on the very day of their festival, linking the wind. So many throughout the kingdom of Jaland have come to Selkirk to enjoy the festivities, the linking of the wind kind of festival that is going to be taking place. And so, for some reason, all of your characters have arrived on this Skyland, and we will find out why you are here and how you traveled there. I'm going to jump to the next page real quick. Let's see. Here is the Skyland of Selkirk, just kind of an image to kind of show, represent its scale. Kind of in the center is a small town or village. And each of these Skylands kind of has a surrounding perimeter of mountains. They're more like foothills. Usually they're not too tall, maybe most of them being under 1,000 feet for a small Skyland. And it kind of creates a protective barrier from the tempestuous winds. The spring itself is usually found somewhere in the center of the Skyland as well, and a spring is a kind of a magical location that provides additional magical protections to the Skyland. Preventing erosion is one of the big things, and creating a calm environment for people to live. And so each of your characters have arrived at Selkirk approximately at the same time, and we are going to start with Coakley. I'm curious, Oakley. What was your means of transportation to Selkirk? And I'm gonna also pull you to a new screen where we're gonna take a look at kind of what it looks like when you arrive at Selkirk. Usually, each of the um, like areas where there is this calm wind where you could land like a ship or an airship or any other means of transportation. Usually it's in like a beachy alcove type of area. So I got a picture here to kind of represent that vibe. So I'm curious, Coakley, what means of transportation did you take to get here? And is there any reason why you've arrived on this island today that you'd like to share?
Specifically, more generally to Jaland, was definitely some sort of one-way planar travel ticket that I purchased or bartered or like helped my way to from some other plane. Unsure what plane did I come from? Let's say it was one of the elemental planes, and we'll say fire. Elemental plane of fire is probably where I was most recently, and through my earlier connections and ins and knowing people, I was able to get a planar travel ticket jump from Elemental Plane of Fire to Jaland. I am presuming I very likely ended up on whatever the main, I forget what the bottom island is, Jaland proper.
Yeah.
What did you say? Sorry.
It's Jaland proper,
Jaland,
yeah.
yes, yeah. The main Jaland island, and as part of my current quest, for something, I would have done my same asking around, using connections and bartering to find a way on a skyship from Jaland all the way up to here to be at the forefront of whatever this new discovery is. Purely trying to witness it and see what powers or new things are coming from this fifth wind.
So in your time in Jaland proper, you probably only were able to visit one of the kind of archipelago style smaller skylands on the outside of it. Jaland right now is completely surrounded by a giant like hurricane like storm. So no visitors are welcome to enter into Jaland proper itself, or have been in quite a long time.
I imagine being a first-timer tourist, I also would have tried to stray as far away from the danger area as possible, going towards the other end of the teardrop spine.
Awesome. So you find yourself on an airship. Any like imagination, like the style of it? Is it one that uses like engines or balloons, or like how did you imagine this airship?
Whatever would have been cheapest, and I very likely guess that. What was that? Oh, I could hear myself upstairs. Sorry. Um, Whatever would have been cheapest and very likely looks dangerous to ride, but is likely what would have happened. Yeah.
You hop aboard a balloon, kind of Zeppelin style airship that is filled with some type of gas that manages to allow it to float, and it's just got propeller blades that kind of allow it to travel.
Yeah, I imagine whatever the Jaland version of hopping on top of the like a stack of hay bales for a farmer who's taking you up the road, whatever the Jaland version of that is. I likely would have like I know I'm a larger, not large creature, larger creature. So I know I would have like been taking up room. So I would have just like went into like as compressed a ball as possible on the corner of whatever these like rickety skyships is.
This skyship was very cheap, so the steering of it, you can tell, has issues because it can constantly drifts to the right and kind of bounces off the wall of this kind of tube of calm air that it's traveling through. So occasionally you get like kind of like a jolt as it kind of drifts and kind of just constantly is bouncing off the side of that tempestuous air mass. But eventually you do, maybe after a few degrees or so of travel, you do make it to Selkirk, where you disembark on a beach, and you do see there are a group of Genasi, inhabitants of Selkirk, that are boarding the airship as you are getting off. In fact, a lot more are getting on the airship than have disembarked with you. And you can see that they're carrying almost like what seems like they're like worldly possessions, almost as much as they can carry. Some of them bringing carts full of goods, things that you would normally expect people to leave behind if they were just simply going to travel someplace. It seems like these people are intent on just moving all of their possessions off of Selkirk. But Coakley, when you enter onto the beach, you see some tall trees that are kind of similar to our palm trees, yet they have kind of ribbon-like leaves, kind of like a weeping willow and a palm tree mixed together. They have very thin ribbon-like leaves that, when a big gust of wind from the Tempestus makes it onto the beach, they kind of all kind of curl back up. You know what I'm talking about? Like when ribbons. You guys ever make ribbons where you like use a scissor and you like, yeah, it kind of does that, and they shoot back up in the breeze to protect themselves. And then as the wind shifts away from the trees, you see them kind of furl back down. And as you walk off the beach and down a road, you see a sign that says Selkirk Town, just a few miles away. So you have a little bit of a hike ahead of you.
Can I? And I'm sorry, not sorry for asking for the first roll. Can I tell from these people leaving? Is this a nervous departure? Is this a happy departure? Is this a terrified, sad? Like what kind of mood are these people in as I'm seeing them leave?
Oh, awesome. Make an insight check.
A wisdom character. What
A
the
wise
fuck?
robot?
Wow.
Oh, no.
Amazing. Yeah, you're having a tough time kind of understanding why these people are leaving. You kind of just take note that they are leaving and they have all their possessions, but as to why they'd be taking so much with them is kind of difficult for you to grasp. You're not getting really anything out of their facial expressions other than they do seem concerned. They definitely don't seem happy. That's for sure. That's kind of all you get out of that interaction. You don't really spend enough time listening or discussing with them. They don't seem interested in talking to you at all. They give you some strange glances because most of them probably have never seen a walking mechanical robot like yourself before. So they don't mention anything to you, and you don't really get any details about why they are leaving. And we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna move over to Telemachus next. Telemachus, I'm curious, as you arrive in Selkirk, how did you get here on this day?
All right. So I picture, I don't know if this exists or not. But here's what I'm picturing. Like Telemachus was, he's moving his way up the spine, one village at a time. And he essentially was like on like kind of a mercenary groups, like he's ship, and but with some like some details you might not know. He ends up with like the shittiest like glider thing that it takes so he can like roughly land on this beach like oh like just haven't made it. And he'd like get up and dust himself off. And he'd go up to the first he'd like if he notices what I noticed the same procession as Kukli.
You're arriving in a different part of the
Oh, okay.
Skyland, so there is no. You are kind of alone on the beach. This wind tunnel that you were traveling on this glider, paraglider kind of style device.
Which
Um,
totally broke as it landed on the beach underneath me.
Oh yeah, you've got a pile of like sticks and like paper with you now. If you just want to leave it there or bring it with you, up to you to decide. But it is certainly not usable anytime soon. But no, the beach is empty where you arrive. There seems to be no one here to greet you, and you are kind of just by yourself, standing on the beach. Do you continue forward, or do you want to explore, or do anything?
Well, first thing I'd do is I'd look at it and I'd just give it a kick and I'd watch it like kind of shamble apart and I'd just like lug it over and I'd look around and I'd like grab the nearest branch entirely too small and I'd just lay it on top of the hovel like hoping no one sees it. um, and then I would probably start looking for signs of the nearest like roadway because I'd want to like know where to start going towards civilization as I nervously look up at the group that is like moving away in the winds away from where I am.
Yeah, so you see kind of a footpath up ahead that goes up and out of the beaches, kind of like these wooden planks or stairs to make it a little bit easier for you to walk on than having to walk through the sandy beach. And as you climb up those, you get to, because you got to imagine this is like kind of going up in elevation because you're heading towards this mountain range, and this footpath takes you kind of through like a valley in one of the mountains. So mountain on your right, mountain on your left, and then down at the base of these mountains, and they're kind of more like giant hills than necessarily a mountain. But you do see a sign that says Selkirk, 1.75 miles, pointing in kind of the um, northwest direction from where you are
How,
located.
how far is it?
So 1.75 miles.
All right, I go like this. I tap my hands together. I go, all right, Wings, you ready? 1 mile, we could go. And nothing happens. And I just say, right on. All right. And then I just start walking.
All right. So two of our characters walking down the path. We're gonna join our other two characters who are arriving together along with an NPC. Moby and Moritaba. Can you guys describe how you have arrived, what devices you took to travel here, um, and who are you escorting? I guess as of now, or I can kind of help you with that one. But what did you do to get here?
Well, I'd like to offer it up to MK to lead here because I would have tasked you slash requested that you avail us of the most commonly available travel you knew how to acquire.
I guess, yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'll leave it up here is I think Moritaba would have been like, oh, we are on Pyrus. There is currently a tunnel to Selkirk. It's the most obvious path. It's the most generic path. We will hire out a airship to escort us. Um, very plain, like this is how you get around. Like nothing, no need for rickety equipment. We're on a good a mission, so it's worth doing this proper. I'm just curious if our escortee would have any reason to uh, you know not want us to take this most obvious path. Um,
Well, and as a clarification, as we were leaving Pyrrhus, we were without our stranger friend
mm,
because you probably would have facilitated the means of that travel, and then I would have probably had words with whatever skyship captain was there and either negotiated with him, bargained with him, or outright commanded with some intimidation to, hey, we need to make a stop along the way, specifically at the Wayward Island. And so ideally, we could have taken a interesting route to go there before being redirected to Selkirk after we retrieved our um, assistant.
Yeah, so the NPC with you guys is named Jay, and he is in heavy disguise right now. He has his hood up. He's wearing kind of shawl over his shoulders to kind of conceal all features. So he's kind of looking like he's just like wearing a blanket essentially at this point. And you can only really see some bright eyes peeking through. Um, I got a picture of him. And, no, Z. Only a pair of eyes peeking through underneath this hood. And this character definitely wants to arrive as stealthily as possible without revealing any information about their identity. So that's what they would task you guys with. Most direct way, we need to get there as fast as possible. But if we could go with somebody that's not going to ask any particulars about names or ask us any questions, that would be best.
I guess then, yeah, what I would have done on the Wayward Isle is see if there was any like mass transport, like bus style ships that are like bringing people to this festival. It's like, oh, it's a big deal, and the intent is to try and blend in with the crowd, lay low, just be like, just appear like, oh, we're just here for the festival, like everyone else. Um, and so we probably arrive in a very unflashy way. We land at whatever port uh, takes in that ship, and we just kind of disembark with however many people are here to witness the festival.
You guys take kind of probably a little bit of a larger of an airship than Coakley took, maybe a little bit more expensive as well, a little bit nicer. And so the number of people that are getting off the ship is much greater than with Coakley. And still, though, when you guys arrive at this port on the beach, on the docks, I guess, there are still quite a few people that are leaving as well. And again, you kind of see a similar scene. They have a lot of things with them. It almost seems like they're taking their life possessions with them. At least not everybody, but a lot of people have quite a substantial amount of um, just general like things you would find in a home with them. And you hear some people, arguing with the ship's captain that you did business with, and he is clearly unhappy with how much stuff people are trying to bring on board. And so as you're leaving, you kind of overhear an argument about, him having to increase his prices due to the fact that so many people are potentially trying to bring a lot of supplies with them on their journey.
As we start touching down and leave the ship that we're on and people start piling on, I'll sort of I'll look to our individual Jay next to me, and I'm about to engage him in conversation and hesitantly redirect my question to Moritaba. And I'll say, Moritaba, um, we should keep a careful eye out for this place. Based on what you told me of Corsica a year ago, I wonder if these people are fearful of a wind approaching its connection to another skyland. We can ask around in town, but I suppose best we don't approach these individuals now. Low profile and all.
Very well, that is very wise of you to suggest.
CJ kind of nod his head as well at your
Good information you
your-
have provided me. Well, onward. And I guess
Right,
as a
so you
trio,
guys-
if we can locate road signs, some means of direction, we'll certainly make our way as discreetly as possible through the bustling crowds and onto the prime town of Selkirk.
Yeah, and so this path that you take is a little bit more traveled than the other individuals. Instead of just kind of like a dirt path or wooden path, this is kind of more of a cobblestone, more permanent kind of roadway that you find yourself on. So travel is a little bit quicker, or I guess more direct towards Selkirk for you. You only have a mile of travel ahead of you. We're gonna jump back to Coakley. Coakley, as you are traveling through, you exit out of the mountain range, and you enter into more of a kind of forested meadow, kind of flora situation. The trees here are no longer those kind of ribbon-like trees, but you do see instead trees with much larger leaves, like giant elephant ear style leaves, and branches that seem very, very thin. The trees in this area clearly are not adapted to strong winds. The winds here are very, very calm. Barely any movement of air, just a kind of gentle breeze that is kind of omnipresent. Doesn't really change or shift. It just feels like air just moving almost in every direction at once. Very calm, very pristine, very nice temperatures. Does your robot body like take up temperature? Like, how do you what are your senses like? I'm curious.
What are my senses like? That is a great question.
How good was your creator?
Temperature. Temperature, I'd imagine Coakley is very similar to like a refrigerator or a freezer or an oven, in the sense that the outside is very just ambient temperature to like what's around him, but the inside might be hotter or colder depending on the arcane inner workings of what's happening inside of him.
I guess, like, do you have a sensation of, oh, it's cold outside, or do you just like have something?
I have a
that, like,
reading.
I have a readout that says it's this degrees, but you don't actually like have a sensation with it.
I think it's much more of that, and it's less like, ooh, it's cold, and it's more like, oh, I must adjust like this part of my arcane inner workings to account for the external cold, so that I generate more heat, so that I stay at an ambient temperature on the outside. And I'd
You
say,
need homeostasis too.
what?
You need homeostasis as well.
I do, otherwise I fall apart. I actually want to double check something because it's motionless, but defensive layer. I'm just looking back up the stuff for whatever my species is. But I do imagine that the rest of my senses are similar to that. I do think one thing that would definitely be unique is that Coakley probably uses one of his fingers to smell, in the sense that like he'll like would hold up a pinky or a finger or like a set of fingers to like, that's how he passively detects scents and aromas on the
How
air.
many particulates are in the air that would indicate
Literally
that
just
that's a single
doing-
person?
Yeah, he has a grid that reads like ambient temperature, smells, not sight, because it would just be sight. But yeah, he has very much a mechanical readout of the stuff around him. But I don't think the biggest thing is none of this is happening consciously for Coakley.
Yeah.
This is like all just built into who Coakley is. If you ask Kukli about the temperature, he'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
So I guess the pleasant kind of nature of this temperature maybe is lost on you, or do you kind of like inherently know like this is a temperature that like organic creatures would enjoy?
I think it would be more of he wouldn't think about the actual mathematics behind it, but if Coakley entered a pleasant, like objectively pleasant atmosphere, Coakley would just feel better because he'd be like, "Oh, my internal stuff is not running at max capacity in either direction. The fan for my laptop is not currently running." Like he just like, "Oh, this is nice. I could use
using up
more
less
of my
energy for whatever.
I could use more
Yeah.
of my activation capacity or energy capacity for other things like lifting things." I don't know.
Gotcha. Well, you find yourself walking through kind of new scenery now. The trees, like I said, have much larger leaves. And you're walking down the trail, and it's kind of like if you've ever been hiking before, I'm sure we've all experienced the fact when like two trails come together. Sometimes when you're close, you can kind of see or hear the kind of trail off to the other side of you as they come to intersect, and you hear somebody walking kind of parallel to you on the other side of this trail. And as you head towards the intersection, you look off to your right and you see Telemachus.
Me.
Yes.
It is a
really.
furry.
So the two of you kind of
Really.
meet at this intersection. You see one another. I'm gonna have you guys describe your characters because we haven't done that yet. But like, just tell us like what you look like. What does Coakley? What does Telemachus see? Telemachus, what does Coakley see when you guys meet one another or see one another for the first time?
Do you want to give us some shift Z's when someone describes
Yeah.
this person?
Absolutely. Who's up first?
I don't know, Sven, you were just describing. Do you want to keep going or take a break?
We'll keep going.
Okay.
You see. Sorry, I'm getting back to my character really quick. Let's change something. Combination of what you see and hear is confusing because what you see is I forget how tall I already said that I was. 6'10"? Is that what I said?
I believe so.
Yeah, 6'10". I have it written down. Oh, I literally put it on a post-it note somewhere near here. You see a like walking automaton robot around 6'10", different shades of like bronze and brown and like ombre, just like dark earthen tones types of metals. But the confusing part is that you don't like. You'd think this is a giant thing that I would hear tromping through the forest. You don't really hear him too much. He's got proficiency in stealth that keeps him fairly like even balanced, I'll say, even keeled as he's walking. But yeah, he's got a backpack on. No noticeable clothing because he is just a robot from head to dick to toe. But you could definitely tell he looks beefy for what you would imagine a robot would even look like, and lots of like what seem to be compartments all over him.
What's a beefy bot? We need. Oh, did we get? I want to zoomed in.
I think I zoomed in on it. Did I
Oh,
not?
did you?
Let me do it again.
Show up for me.
Did it work?
Christopher, you are muted.
Oh, sorry. It might not do it for you if you're on the GM layer. I kind of forget how that works. But
It is on the token layer. You guys, wait, did I have you guys on the right? Are you guys all on the Crossroads page?
Yeah.
I am seeing it. Yeah.
Okay, so you're moving Coakley around. I click on Coakley, Shift
Hey,
Z.
there we go.
Oh,
Yep.
there he is.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that was open the whole time.
Your
Yeah.
eyes
So
are
imagine
open like
that you just like you take the girth meter on every last inch of Coakley and just increase it by like 1.3.
Does your face
Hell
look
yeah.
like that, or is it a little different?
The biggest thing about the face is that there is no mouth opening slot. But yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah, like
even
a
less
spike
stupid,
sticking out of the back of your head too.
I don't. Oh, sorry, my screen. Oh, it just got rid of it. I'll say just for design's sake, yes. Just to make it easier for having
Looks like a ponytail.
and future edits that I might want to change. Um,
Yeah.
but yes, yeah, like some protrusions throughout the metallic body.
Are there gaps in anything, or is it just kind of like sheets that like perfectly overlap one another?
As you
Like,
see him
any
walking,
wiring?
you do not see any wiring or anything like that. There are it's like a Michael, like the bug,
Interlocking
like the bugs, the bugs from Nausicaa last night, where the shells just like overlapped. That's all you see, like
Oh,
along the legs and the arms and the articulated joints.
be horrifying to just run into you in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, and then your eyes. Do your eyes like glow? Do they like
They
have
have
an
a
extra?
they have a light, I'll say light green glow to them. I'm certain that somehow there was some bit of like uh, anthropomorphization done to like make my eyes like not blink but like fade and then come back as I like. I'm trying to think. I know there's a specific toy I'm thinking of. It's got like a robot's face, but the eyes definitely do have some humanity to them, but are primarily just like lights on the front of my face.
Well, you're very metallic, so there's no like gleam in a certain direction. Basically, like every part of you kind of shines. Like metal is very, very vibrant in Jaland, so you kind of glow to a certain extent. Um, and Telemachus, I'm curious, what does Coakley see when Coakley uses those green eyes to look at you?
So, if you had been in Jalan for any length of time, you probably wouldn't be too surprised to see one of the Kieran kin. So people like know there's it's a very known group, but they hail from the moon Ithaca. So in front of you, you would see a very tall, around 6-ish feet, but then he's got the antlers on top. Deer humanoid essentially. So kind of like a fawn, but deer with like actually some draconic accents, a little more draconic accents than this guy has here. He's tall with sorry. Yep. He's tall. He's got blue-green eyes. I like his fur disposition here. I also imagine there would be like just like little spots where there would be like little crests of scales that would be kind of like gray, like metallic in both. They'd look a little silver, a little gold, not like distinctly either. And they'd kind of just be in different spots. He's pretty trim, very light, wearing blue, green, and purple, just kind of garments wrapped together. And I do like the overall dynamic like look of this guy. So I'm actually like cool to say like, yeah, that's just the outfit he's wearing. You do notice one other thing that you would see is he's got and hanging down in front of him. There's like this almost like a pendant. It's kind of triangular. It like starts wide and goes narrow. But it's kind of like an odd shape, and that would be right on top of my chest and garments and stuff. And that's what you'd see.
I want you guys to think about what your first thoughts or impressions would be of one another, and we'll jump back to you in just a moment. I want to give you guys a second to like think like what would your initial reaction be to seeing each other in that way. And we are going to jump over to our other three characters that are traveling together. You guys find yourself on a different path, taking towards or heading towards Selkirk. A little bit farther back than is gonna kind of like appear on this screen. So Moby, I just put your character on. Here's Moritaba, and then Jay. So the three of you are walking together. If you guys want to describe what you look like, any passerbys?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go if I'm eager to lead, which I think I would be, but relying heavily on Moritaba to my side. But as I approach, Standing 6.5 feet tall, very broad shoulders, fairly imposing frame. You would see a dark gray-blue skinned steam genasi. His appearance probably immediately registers as sturdy and muscular, but brief glimpses of translucence through portions of the body and the vapors drifting from his skin indicate a lighter form than his silhouette might suggest. He wears ceremonial cloth vestments of blue and silver, but those are distinctly contrasted by the gold circlet on his forehead and golden scepter in his hand. Perhaps most notable at a glance are the billowing waves of white hair that drift and are buoyant on the wind, which seem physical at the base, like actual hair, but they gradually transition to a more translucent steam that sort of fades into nothingness at the end. There's definitely a commanding presence to this man, though his body language is hinting a very distinct closeness or even reliance on the human companion to his side.
Yeah, so standing a bit shorter than Moby here, more just kind of average height. It's just a very plain humanoid, but literally human figure, wearing armor and vestments very similar to what's here, but notably the coloration is very similar to what Moby is wearing. It's very blues and silvers instead of the red and golds pictured here. But he's very upright, firm. He's got his spear held at his side very properly, and is periodically checking with the taller figure at his side, but is in the lead, but seems to be relying on Moby to make sure we're still going in the right direction.
And you'll also notice. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Is that kind of weapon on your back or anything?
That weapon, I will say the kind of wing tip at the top of the spear aren't present. It is more just a very normal spear, and he's kind of carrying it upright, and is, even though maybe we might have a cloak on or something to try and lay low, it's very easy to tell that this guy is a soldier, and he is marching how soldiers do, with weapon in hand, and is very distinct in that way. There's not really a lot of subtlety to how he is proceeding.
As our paths begin to cross with you other guys off in the distance, or if you see us coming, one other behavioral trait you might notice from Moby, this tall individual, is he's almost momentarily distracted. He's relying on Moritaba, his human companion, to make sure we're staying on the right path, on the right side of things, but he's constantly looking over his shoulder at our more clothed and guarded ally. Almost just not babysitting, but just constantly checking on him.
Speaking of which, I already showed you guys this, described him. Maybe I didn't do the zoom out correctly, but the other NPC companion with you guys, who kind of seems to be sticking to themselves, keeping their head down, very tall individual, but very heavily clothed, seeming to kind of hide behind Moby, who is a little bit taller than he is. But one thing you do notice, the two of you guys, is your NPC friend Jay is he takes out of his pocket, and he's got these kind of metal tags. They almost look like dog tags, but they have little symbols drawn on them. One of them has a symbol of 3 J's, kind of one big double hook J, almost looking like fishing hooks, and then 2 smaller ones on either side of it. And he's got another one that he pulls out. It's a crown with a sun over the top of it and gears underneath it. A third one he pulls out has one giant wing on it. He quickly puts that one back in his pocket. A fourth one he takes out is a cloud with a sword piercing through it. He's looking through all of them, and then he settles on the original one, the first one he pulled out. the kind of fish hook looking J symbol. Let me put it here for you guys. Kind of looks like this.
Ooh, very cool.
And he like puts it on his he like puts it over his head, and then he like displays it, properly in front of him. And he does open his mouth to speak to the two of you as you're walking, because you finally found a place. Maybe you guys walked faster than the other group of individuals that were getting off with you. And finally, you have some privacy where he kind of looks around, notices that the coast is clear, and he says, I think this one should do. I will be pretending to be part of the Sons of Jah. Now remember, I must be the one to perform this ceremony. So, with this, it should symbolize that I have the authority to perform the rite of the wind, connecting this fifth wind to Jaland. You will have to be my voice. I will not be able to speak near in the presence of others. And the two of you can kind of instantly tell why he won't be able to speak in the presence of others, because this kind of really foul smell comes out of his mouth as he speaks to you. It smells of materium. Materium is like a scent that everybody from the material plane kind of gets imbued with. It is a very kind of polluted, grimy, diseased kind of smell. Compared to Jaland, the material plane, the air is very polluted. The rivers are very, very dirty. So it kind of just gets absorbed in somebody that spends any amount of time in the material plane. And so one of the big things that when you originally picked up Jay was he was very self-conscious of this, and you guys can instantly tell why, because I don't know, depending on how well you can kind of cover it, like you might be like plugging your nose like as he speaks to the two of you.
Yeah, I'm also surprised at my reaction to it. It's hitting my nostrils and it's smelling foul, and I'm confused why that's the case. And then I sort of contemplate, oh, this body is registering different senses than I'm used to.
Um, And when you guys picked up this individual at the Wayward Island, there was kind of a connection. You did see this ritual take place before, the connecting of the wind, where this individual connected to that skyland and brought some of the air from that skyland into his lungs. So it is actually better than it was originally in terms of his breath, but it's kind of just like perfume masking kind of like a substantial odor. And one of the things that Jay said to you is that I do need to like purify my lungs. I must get the air of Orin into me before I'll be able to reveal and show my true identity to anyone other than the two of you. So
I
he kind of
also
claps you both on the shoulders and like is like, I appreciate having the two of you with me.
I
Toby,
will volunteer that I'm happy to be his mouthpiece as needed. No disrespect. Also, I'll be right back, but I need 30 seconds.
yep. Koitaba, I know I have just met you, but you have been a good friends thus far.
Uh, Certainly, it is my duty to escort you as per the will of my knights, the herald himself. Uh, Anything you require of me, just say the word.
Thank you. I hear someone up ahead. If they ask me to speak, please speak for me.
Very well.
And he puts his hood back up. He readjusts the little insignia in front of him. But we're gonna jump back to our other two characters, Oakley and Telemachus. Curious what you guys' initial reaction to seeing one another are.
I think I would stop like a deer and just go real still. And
So, okay,
Beard headlights.
the fact you say that, because the way that I picture Coakley interacting in this situation, Coakley's walking like a robot, as you would imagine a robot would walk, very stiffly, but still, like I said, like gingerly and even keeled. Would see you and then would just do
oh,
as you, and would just like do like a pose to like
like a human pose.
Holy
Like-
shit.
Human-
it was very clearly a robot doing a human pose, and would just stare at you for a moment as you are stopped as a deer.
Yeah, I would be deer in headlighting, and then I would never have seen anything like this before, right?
No. Actually, if your character has been to Gigas before, and as a Kieran, do you think you've been well traveled in Jaland? Have you been everywhere, or do you think there are places that you haven't been yet?
No, I'm like 17 years old. I haven't been anywhere yet. Maybe 27. So young. Yeah.
And
I'll say yeah.
you've heard of similar creations in Gigas, but you've never seen anything like this. You may have had something similar described to you before, similar, but certainly nothing that looks like that.
After just like a second, I guess I'd kind of like step back straight. Not really sure if I
greetings.
should be reaching for.
And
my
Copley is
blade.
just like one leg partially bent and like trying to look relaxed while standing tall. Greetings.
Awaiting response.
Seriously.
I have performed my greeting. Now it is your turn.
Greetings.
What?
Farewell. And I
Well,
think Copley, before you start saying anything, will almost start to walk away.
I'd take out my bow and I'd tap you on the shoulder with it.
Before it even gets to me, I presume Coakley would try to like stop it. To like.
Oh, I'm like behind you. Can you sense me doing that?
No, not sense you, but like after the first tap, you'd see very, very quick reflexes from this robot as Coakley he turns back around and says, "Greetings.
Greetings. Where are you going?
Hello. I'm headed to the festival. That's where these roads are headed. Is that not where you're headed as well?"
Oh, I was going to the town. Is there a festival?
I believe there is. Pardon me. I must remember this. I am Coakley. It is a wonderful pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, a pleasure. What are you?
I am a traveler, headed to the festival in the city.
Oh, okay. I was going that way too.
What are you?
Oh, I'm
A
Telemachus.
traveler? Oh.
Well,
that's
this village doesn't know it yet, but I will soon be the resident alchemist, I think, if all goes well.
Oh, alchemy. A man of science. Or boy of science. A deer? An animal. Person? Creature of science.
A creature that needs money.
Money, yes. We all need money. I've been taught to be quite frugal in my years, and I do not have much myself. But it's about who you know, not what you know, or where you know.
You look like you are actually made of money. I'm like looking around you. Is someone telling you what to say?
If I'm judging your implication, parts of you could be sold for money as well.
But I have blood.
Holy shit.
And who's to say I do not? It might not be mine. I'm headed to the town. Is that where you are also headed?
Yes, we could head together.
I would not mind some company on the trail. I have not spoken to an educated individual since my previous plane.
Plane. We can fade out there.
All right. So the two of you, I mean, it was kind of funny, like one of those awkward moments where like you say goodbye to somebody, but you're like heading in the same direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna stick with the two of you because as you travel down this path, you don't make it too far before you get to a signpost, and you notice that there is on the other side of the signpost, kind of originally was hidden, but you see you're standing right where that person is. Hold on a second. I'm there. you see. All right. And here we go. You see an old man, Genesi, who's kind of leaned, or seated, I should say, a big kind of walking stick in his hand, almost looking like a wizard's staff. Um, very simply clothed, a traveler's pack on his back, and he is leaned up against this sign. He's looking exhausted. This picture kind of makes this individual look kind of like in their 50s, but this you got to imagine more like today's in like human years, like a 70, 80-year-old man. He's slouched against the sign, and you see him not really moving, and then snores and shifts his head. The individual is sleeping, leaned up against the sign.
What does the sign say?
It says Selkirk, and it's got a arrow pointing this direction. So as you walk up to read the sign, this individual kind of like shifts his head and like wakes up. And then he instinctively holds out an arm to you to help him up.
I say, good morning, grandfather. How are you doing today? Bit late to be sleeping, isn't it?
Oh, hello there. How fares the winds on your path this evening?
A bit bumpy, to be honest, but the ride here was tolerable.
Right here. Did you just arrive in Selkirk today, then? For this degree, then?
I have not arrived yet in Selkirk. I believe Selkirk is that way. And I'll point to wherever the sign is. But I have just landed on this island.
Yes, the Skyland is named Selkirk as well.
I will take note of that confusing item.
Oh. He kind of gets to his feet. Would one of you be willing to help an old man? I could use an arm to guide me towards Selkirk. In my old age, my vision is not as clear as it used to be. And he holds out his arm, kind of like in between the two of you to see who would grab it.
Oh, I'm gonna reach over and grab it. You don't happen to have any old rich friends who need like healing with from a nice new young Everlist in town, do you? And I'll like start trying to talk him up.
Old rich friends, no, unfortunately. I am not from Selkirk. I've arrived this degree as well. I've come for the festivals. I will be performing the rites of the winds. I'm a scholar of the sons of Jah, and as such, it is my duty to perform the ritual. I will link the fifth wind this very evening. I have an important task ahead of me, and I must conserve my strength. If you could help guide me to the town, it would be much appreciated.
I'm certain between the two of us we can easily get you there.
I actually get tired after a couple feet and call Coakley over. He's kind of leaning on me more than I was ready to. Can you help? You maybe help me?
Of course. How tall is this man?
He's not too tall, probably like 5'9".
I'll put out like Coakley will put out his arms like this to like hold the man because he's not gonna do one of these over my shoulders. I would love to assist you to the ride, to the town. My name is Coakley.
Are you just offering to carry him?
No, I want his arms to go over my arms, like as if he were like draping an arm around his
Oh,
shoulder.
okay, good. I thought you meant you held out your arms like this for him to
No.
hop up into him.
No, I'm just like I'm a foot taller than him, so I don't want him to do this.
I got you.
So his arm is just I'm just offering my arm to like as a crutch almost for him to use.
All right. So you guys, the three of you, start to head down the path towards Selkirk. But this old man has definitely slowed you guys down. He's kind of shuffling. He's not quite as fast as the two of you were walking, but you're doing a good deed in helping him out. But I need the two of you to make perception checks for me.
Oh, I gotta fix my abilities.
Wow.
21. Ooh.
1.
Nice.
The first
You're enamored by this man, Jan. He's telling you a tale of him he's kind of explaining the ritual to you about how it actually works, how breathing in the air and linking it to his own body actually links the winds to all of Jaland. So you're kind of enthralled by his tale, and you don't notice, but Coakley, I'm imagining you kind of like maybe your head like snaps in the direction behind you. I don't know. Can your head like rotate around like completely like?
No, it does it can turn, but I imagine in a situation like this, I have different like portholes that open, like my ears would move or something, and like they'd shift so that like the ears are more in the correct direction, because I don't have actual ears for like the conical sound wave getting, so I just need to focus a porthole in a direction.
Whatever your sensory arrays are that can shift and move, they shift behind you towards our group of 3 individuals that are quickly approaching from behind, moving much faster than the 3 of you. They kind of seem like they're trying to like maybe get around you guys and like walk faster than you to move around you, but Moby, Jay, and Moritaba, you come across Jan, Telemachus, and Coakley.
Pardon, citizens. If you would be willing to move aside, we have business about the festival. Thank you very much.
Oh, is your business helping us carry this old guy to town? Because we need a break.
I must apologize. We have very urgent business about for the festival. So if you would.
But you're so strong and healthy looking, and I just like get out from under the old guy. Come on, help him out.
I will take up more of the burden. If you do have important things for the festival, I believe this is an important thing for the festival. Sir, whose name I forgot to ask. Do you have a name?
Yes, I've already told you. My name is Jan.
Oh, Jan. I do apologize. Short fellow in a rush. Jan here is one of the key people involved in the ceremony of the winds. So perhaps you should help him here faster, because this is an important thing for the festival.
A spike of cold nervousness runs down my spine unexpectedly, knowing that, oh goodness, we have a conflict already in our venture for our assistant. Jay is sought out. He needs to perform the rite of the wind. And so I will eagerly take a step forward, sort of defensively putting a hand in front of both of my companions and say, I fear you are mistaken. We travel with a member of the Sons of Jah fit to perform the rite of the wind.
As you say that, you get like a grab from behind as Jay like grips your like shoulder and is like.
Does he do it in time that I don't continue and say I'm with a member of the Sons of Jah, or did I get those words out in time?
It sounds. Let's see how fast this occurs. I want you to make. I don't know what roll I would do for this one. Make a charisma check for me.
My charisma versus his sleight of hand or something.
Like... Yeah.
Oh no.
So he gets to you pretty slow, but you see your charisma is enough that you can kind of like continue the sentence before something potentially bad might happen. You see when you turn around and you notice that Jay's like gripping your shoulder, you see that he has put away his like Sons of Jah medallion and has like quickly like shoved it, like put it down his shirt. And he's like shaking his head like no, and his eyes are like super wide.
I immediately redirect my course of language and say, pardon me, not Sons of Jah. We were informed they would potentially be here as well. I'm actually accompanying. And then I look down to his tag.
And he pulls out a different one.
which I don't know instinctively the emblematic association. Moritabo, would you continue?
Yeah, so I will know if it's the Sword Saint Medallion, whether it's one of the other two factions.
Yeah. He pulls out this one. I'll display it. It is a sword piercing through cloud.
Whoa.
This is the Sword Saint's Medallion.
As I have previously said, we are here on business for the festival on behalf of the Sword Saints. So if you would please excuse us, we will be on our way. And I'd like to try and be like as commanding as I can be, without any like charm or anything. Just trying to be so matter of fact. Hopefully get these strangers to move aside.
Yeah, go ahead and make a persuasion check. Alright, Telemachus and Coakley, you guys can kind of interpret a persuasive Moritaba was for you, but Jan kind of steps forward and says, "The Sword Saints, you say? It is all right. Your services are not needed. Like I said, as a scholar of the Sons of Jah, I will be the one performing the service. You may witness it and watch it if you would like. Otherwise, you may return. It is probably not too late to catch your transport off of Selkirk. I'm sorry that you have wasted your time." And he turns and says, and kind of nods to Telemachus and Coakley, kind of indicating, let's continue down our path.
I'm going to shoot Jay just a very quick glance for basically encouragement to muscle our way forward anyway. And if he like gives me a nod or anything, I'll say, that is fine. We are perhaps of separate factions, but that does not mean we can't travel together. Perhaps there is something for us to learn of your right.
Certainly. Onward. We can travel together down this road.
I whisper to the robot, I never know what any of these different factions mean, because do you?
This is the first I'm hearing of any of this.
And we're saying this over the guy's head.
I'm looking down, like, over the man's head towards you. Because how tall are you?
I'm 6 feet, but, you know, I got little ears.
And antlers.
I actually want him a little, like, I don't want him to be too tall, but... You're 6-ish too, right? You're a little taller?
He's close
6'10".
to 7.
You're 6'10",
Oh,
yeah.
you're so tall! I have to
Yeah.
whisper up at you. I forgot.
Yeah.
Roll.
My head does one of these to listen to the whisper.
My snout and my tickles your robot ear. But we'll just keep moving him along. Also, are we going in the same pace at the same time in the same direction? Like, are you guys staying with us?
Well, Jan will say to you guys, "Oh, new to Jaland, I say. You are you? I will explain as we walk. It is a quite fascinating tale. It will take some time to explain, but we have plenty of time along the way." And he starts to like ramble as, you know, an old man does, telling you all about the different factions. But they are ahead of you guys, and they're kind of 3 wide, so they're taking up the entire path, and they're traveling at a slow pace. You know, they're quite big too, quite tall.
Telemachus has fun, like, making sure he takes up more than he needs. He wants to see if you guys are gonna go single file to pass.
If you guys peek back at us, you can see Moritaba is very like I thought that was gonna work. And like he's like looking up at Moby and then like back at Jay.
And then
He's
Moby's
like,
looking at Jay.
Jake's like,
Very well, we'll march behind. Okay.
Yeah, I'll whisper to you and Jay, Moritaba. Keep an eye on that one. Not familiar with what sort of interfaction clashes may break out if we are on the wrong side. Jay, do try and steer us in the right direction when you can.
and he just nods, but doesn't say anything.
Yep.
So the larger group continues on at a much slower pace now.
Yeah, can we say our group is like 30 feet back, and when you guys speed up, we seize the chance to walk faster, but if you guys slow down, we kind of maintain our distance a little bit.
Okay, so there's a little bit of space between
Little
the
bit,
two
yeah.
groups as well. Yeah. So as you guys are traveling, you continue closer and closer to Selkirk. As you're kind of rounding a bend, you do see kind of a larger hill, almost like a foothill from this mountain range that you just passed through, kind of off by itself. And Oakley specifically, you did describe your senses for us a little bit, but you kind of feel a new sense, and I'm curious how this would work with your like machinery and how you're so robotic, but you almost have like an intuitive feeling that is like not part of your typical programming, right? Like you're getting like an anomalous reading maybe, right? Like your sensory arrays are like picking something up that you're not sure what it is. And it draws your head and your sensory array towards the top of this mountain range.
Is
Have you ever been like electrocuted before, or like hit by lightning, or like charged, or anything like that?
very specifically, yes.
You have that kind of like sense that like you sense like electricity, like charge, like right before someone gets struck by lightning, right? They might have this sense.
I think
It almost like makes you feel like you're in danger.
I internally, Coakley would be thinking, or the systems would be thinking, I'm trying to homeostasis this, but I don't know how to equalize electrostatic pressure and bad vibes on the outside. And I think Coakley would speak up and say, "Is anyone else feeling nauseous?"
You can feel nauseous?
Jan, is it typical to feel this way when approaching the center of Selkirk? A bit.
Feel what
off?
way, Coakley? Off? No.
I'm not quite sure what it is, but something does feel weird. It was awfully pleasant back at that signpost, but as we continue to walk, and is it coming from like a big mountain or mound that we're heading towards? That I feel it like.
Yeah, specifically from like the top of it. And so, do you indicate in that direction?
Yeah, like in the general direction of the mountain. As we've approached that higher point, I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's something in the air that seems to be off.
Because you can make, and the two of you can make perception checks, and if the other group catches up with them, you guys can also kind of look up at this hill and all make perception checks as to what potentially could be causing Oakley to feel uneasy.
Yeah, we see you guys kind of slow your pace and start directing your attention in one direction, so we'll sort of slowly approach and do the same.
Oh my god.
Yikes.
Alright, -1 perception.
Jesus, yes.
Hey.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you guys all kind of squint up there. Jan doesn't even make a roll because Jan can see like maybe 30 feet in front of him. And only Moritaba can notice something. You see, like, glint, right? Like, I would imagine sunlight reflecting off of like a surface, kind of like what Coakley looks like, right? When you look at Coakley, he like looks like he's glowing, and you've kind of like, okay, that's what metal looks like, right? In Jaland, you're familiar with that, and you see something at the top, but it's like it's shifting, it's moving. I don't know what it is, but there's something like metallic at the top there that you can see.
Moby, I sense it seems like there's some sort of metal. Could be someone with a weapon, could be someone wearing armor. Let me go scout ahead and check this out, make sure it's safe.
Of course, please do so according to your protocols. He almost seems I'm giving you direction, but I'm like stumbling through the words. Yeah.
And I'm like, right. This is a test for me to prove myself. Right. Okay. And you'll see Moritaba kind of get his spear out and kind of hold it in both hands, and will kind of make to break out from this group and make his way towards that mound.
So Coakley and Telemachus, you see the shorter one with a spear kind of hop off the side of the road and head into the woods, into the forest, towards this mountain. Jan says to you guys, "This does seem like a good place to rest before continuing onward."
Oh, do you need rest, sir?
Yes, you can put me down.
I just kind of drop him and start walking after Moe or that guy. Wait, I want to go with. I want to go with you.
I definitely think Coakley does. Coakley tries to like hand under armpit to like put Grandpa gently down on like a rock or something. He's licensed in mobility assistance. That's really true. But he will gently put Jan down. Jan, will you need to rest for a while? I do not know when this ceremony starts. Actually, do you know when the ceremony starts?
Yes, we have plenty of time. 3 days.
Oh, we have
3 degrees. It's gonna be tough. Days or degrees, same thing.
Is that what it is? So that's what you were saying, like 1 degree around the axis in the
Yeah.
graph. Okay. Degrees. 3 degrees. Oh, we have plenty of time. And I do think Coakley would just like sit down next to this man.
Yes, but we should not stay here for full 3 degrees. That would be too much time to rest.
Coakley stands up and is ready to go.
No, but we do need some time to rest, though.
Coakley does like the pose that he did when he first.
Oakley, come on
met.
with us. We're gonna
Okay.
go check it out.
What are we checking out?
As you kind of shout that, I will kind of turn back like, citizen, please be careful. This could be dangerous. Please, if you would remain back, I will let you know if it's safe or not. And we'll try to dissuade you from accompanying me.
Who are you talking to?
Roll
at that
persuasion
point?
check.
That's towards Telemachus, who seems to be bounding after.
I just want, yeah, because I just saw him going off, and I was like, I'm tired of helping this old man. I want to go where that guy's going.
Okay, so you called him. You called Telemachus citizen.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. Just call me citizen.
I'm trying to be like, we're about business. Please.
I put my hand on your shoulder and I say, I'm good in a tricky situation. And I just keep walking with you. I think the robot thing noticed what's on those hills, I tell you, as I start walking away.
Be mindful. It was had a metallic sheen. It could be someone carrying weapons, wearing armor. So,
I take out my longbow and I get an arrow ready.
oh,
And you see I'm pretty like practiced with what I just did.
oh, very well. Be careful with weapons. Just be ready for anything.
Moby, what are you doing? Curious.
I'm sort of, my attention priority right now is toward Jay. So as I almost weirdly casually, maybe even rashly allow Moritaba to, do your thing, scout up ahead, make sure it's not dangerous for us. And then I sort of give my attention immediately to Jay and start asking him questions. Master Jay, are you in a state to continue onward. Would you like to accompany Moritaba and the other Kirin kin forward? Would you prefer to stay back? What do you need of me?
Jay looks over at Jan and kind of like out of the corner of his eyes, and he's like kind of like actively trying to like hide his face from this individual, and he points towards like where Moby's going or where Moritaba's going, and is like, follow him. And you get more so that he doesn't want to like go off-roading. More so he's trying to get away from Jan for some reason.
Understood. Grandfather, I believe that other one referred to you as. Do stay behind. We will scout up ahead. I cannot be far from my squire for too long. Jay, this way. And then
And you guys head to the woods.
past. Yeah.
Are you guys sneaking through the woods? How are we traveling through the woods together?
I have like ornate, like it's a chainmail base heavy armor, but it's like ornate with like fancy big pauldrons on the shoulders. It's got like plating for like a short like half skirt that's over the pants. It's all very over engineered, very decorative and traditional, and it is loud. And Moritaba is just marching forward and is not stealthy. He is just moving forward, spear at the ready.
Moby is just trying to stick next to Jay, maybe even in front of him, encouraging Jay to stand one space behind me.
Telemachus?
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to sneak if they're being that loud, but what I will do is, I'll stop for a second and mutter a word and do a quick gesture, and I don't know if they can see out of the corner of their eyes, but then I'm gonna go like this, and there's gonna be like this like crystalline dust that kind of coats the fur over my eyes, and I want to cast guidance on myself for perception as we walk through this area.
So no one in particular trying to be necessarily very stealthy.
I do think Coakley would be the last one, and I think Coakley would, by default, go into stealth mode. Coakley would stop and say, Jan, if you do not mind, I'd like to make sure our new acquaintances, I'd be interested in seeing what they find towards whatever the source of my nausea is. Please take this, and I'll just like a little panel will like open up on my shoulder, and a dagger will pop out, like hilt first, down towards Jan, and I will lean down. Please take this in case you need defense. I'm not sure from what, but that might be what we're heading towards. And I will offer a dagger.
Jan has like fallen asleep, so you drop a dagger in his lap.
I'll gently like drop it towards him, and then I will, in stealth, I will start heading after the pack of 4 others.
Yeah, I wanted to ask for clarification. Did you say are we going into a wooded area?
Yeah, so off the side of the road is kind of more of like a heavily forested area. So it's like a little bit of woods and then this kind of like foothill, we will say. It's not necessarily a mountain, but a very large hill, a few hundred feet maybe, from where you guys are to the top of it. And there's a kind of a small section of forest in between. It's the similar trees that are clearly not well adapted to strong winds, very flimsy branches, but very, very big leaves. So as you guys do travel into the canopy, you are kind of naturally kind of hidden from anybody that would be up high. However, it's not dark in the canopy. It is still pretty vibrant and light while you're underneath these trees.
Last question before we go in. Do we have, knowing like the basics of Selkirk or this area in general, are there a lot of like threats and predators that like would be in a wooded area before I say if I'm stealthing or not? Because I don't know if I would think to.
There could be, like, you would be more concerned about like wild animals, right? Necessarily, if you were like off in the forest, like creatures that are potentially dangerous, and necessarily like bandits or robbers. However, you know, who knows what this festival has brought, right? What types of individuals or people might be here. There's certainly going to be a lot of outsiders in this community currently. So nothing specific, no specific threat that you would think of necessarily. But again, like Coakley had this very strange feeling of like dangerous electricity,
Okay.
which I think Coakley did slightly voice. So you might be concerned that there is something potentially dangerous.
Okay, I'll stealth then. I'll just go in a little more careful then. Even if that slows
Okay.
me down from Moby.
All right. So
could be the
if
boost.
you're sneaking, can you roll me a stealth check? If you're at least trying to go without being too noticeable.
I'm more so just hanging back. It sounds like Coakley's even further back than me, but my priority being sheltering my ally Jay. So not even stealthing, but almost functionally taking the dodge action. We're just moving forward defensively in front of him.
Jay, however, is he's crouched down, and he is certainly in kind of like stealth mode, and so he's doing a very good job hiding.
Awesome.
First nat 20 is for an NPC.
At least the first nat 1 wasn't.
That's true.
At least
Congratulations.
that wasn't my perception check.
That's what I was wondering if it was.
All right, so you guys get to the base of this hill, and you can kind of see up to the top. This hill kind of has, it looks like at one point in time there were once kind of like a like staircases up to the top, like ways up to the top of it with like rock kind of stairs, and at the top of it there is kind of like the ruins of like the foundation stones, but no building at the top of this. Clearly, long ago there was once some type of structure at the top of this, and you can kind of sense that this where it's located must kind of overlook the town of Selkirk itself. And when you get to the base of it, I would like you guys to make perception checks.
Yikes rolls from me so far.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh, yeah, me too. I just rolled a 5 with the guidance.
I've rolled 2s and 19s.
I like the idea that we're all going first and rolling horribly. You're the furthest back, and you're like going to see, guys, you stepped in a bear trap, like, or there's bandits all around you, or.
All right, so Coakley, Moby, Moritaba, you kind of get to the base of this hill without realizing or seeing anything. Coakley, from behind, when you kind of emerge from the forest, it makes kind of sense that you would be the first to notice this, because your kind of intuition, for some reason, this feeling of electricity, you can kind of more focus in on where this might be coming from, and you can see at the very tippy top of this hill there is a floating storm cloud sitting. It's like a cloud that has fallen down from the sky, and it's sitting there on top of this hill. And wait a minute, you see a second one as well. There's one next to it. One is kind of like a lighter gray color. The other one's like a dark black color. And you notice it's not like a normal cloud. They have arms. One of them is holding what looks like a telescope, right? Like a looking glass, and it's not looking in your direction, but it is looking off in the distance. And I'm gonna bring you guys to a new map.
Oh, ghastlies.
Holy shit.
So Coakley, you're really the only one that sees this. For everybody else, kind of 100 feet away, we'll say, there is a storm cloud at the very tippy top, holding in his hands a looking glass. And from kind of your trajectory, you can kind of see, yeah, it's like studying the road that we were just on.
A question for anyone who's a bit more familiar with these lands than I am. Is that a normal creature? And I will just I'm just gonna stand there with my hand pointing up towards the thunderclouds. They seem to be the source of whatever my feeling is. Are they normal?
Can we see them?
Yeah, I guess if
Yeah, once
in the right direction.
once Coakley points it out, you're able to see, and again, just as I described before, two storm clouds. They are large creatures. One is like a dark black color. One is like a gray color.
I guess in my training, I might not have had experience, but what I would have learned about any dangerous wildlife creatures, things to be mindful of as a soldier, things to be defensive if you run into them. Do these cloud creatures do they resemble anything I've learned about?
Most certainly, I'm not even going to make you roll for this. There are three things in Jaland that everyone knows to be careful of: rats, curses, and storm clouds. And this is one of those three.
That's curses and storm clouds. I'm gonna get down low, holding my bow. Was it watching? What was it? What do you think it was watching?
It seemed to be watching the road where we were just traveling, or we're about to be traveling.
Under my breath.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, under my breath, to only myself, Moby says, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Moritaba will say, whatever it is, it can't be good. Nothing good happens around storm clouds. But if they are surveying the road, they will need to be dealt with in any regard. So perhaps if we can get the jump on it, that would be best.
Do you think if we kill one, I could take part of its body? I hold up a little glass.
Perhaps you'll have the chance to find out.
And Moritama, do avail us of the knowledge of how one handles these creatures.
I was about to make you make a nature check.
Yes.
Let's see what you know.
And I will recall upon what I've learned about storm clouds.
Decent. You do know a little bit. You've never fought one before, because typically storm clouds are like chaotic creatures. They wouldn't. That's you would find them you'd come across them randomly, right? And certainly never would you ever imagine two of them teaming up together. That's just not in their nature. Typically they are found they're just like chaotic beings, right? They wouldn't join with another storm cloud. It seems strange, it seems off to you. The one thing you do know about them, though, to Telemachus's question, is storm clouds have a tendency to explode when they are bested.
Right, of course. Another test. As I was taught, the storm clouds are typically chaotic in nature, so do not expect tactics from them. Expect them to behave erratically. The presence of two here is interesting, but should not pose any significant extra risk. If you have means of attacking from range, as they do tend to explode chaotically upon their defeat. And you will see Moritaba kind of into a big strap on his back, put away his spear, and then get out a massive longbow. It's not big and thick, it's pretty willowy, but it is taller than he is. And he will have his longbow at the ready with his quiver at his side.
Another thing that you notice about these storm clouds is the one that is kind of facing away kind of seems to be shifting his gaze. You can follow his eyes every about 12 seconds or so. This creature is looking back and forth between these two kind of entry paths. You can tell it's kind of keeping an eye out for the other one. You guys see my little beam here?
Yep.
The triangle. Yeah.
Yeah. So he gazes this direction, kind of almost towards where you guys are, but fortunately you're kind of right up against this rock face, like right here. So it doesn't necessarily see you, but you can definitely tell it's keeping an eye out.
Before we press any further around, do we want to take a bio break soonish?
Yeah.
Bye break,
perfect.
and then we can decide how to proceed.
Love it.
Cool. All right, sweet. See you guys in a few.
This is exciting.
Good, yeah.
I can't tell if this is I mean, high likelihood combat happens here, but I'm like, is this Legend of Zelda sentries are walking around, you gotta evade them, and if you don't, it'll turn into combat, versus how successful we could possibly be at that endeavor.
Yeah. Up to you guys to decide. I'll move forward. Very exciting. Knew there was gonna be storm clouds to battle at some point. Of course.
Didn't realize they would be anthropomorphic isn't the right word, but I guess sentient beings that are storm clouds. And yeah.
Same thing with
having
curses.
Often said that in the past. It was just fun for me to be like Hybaravel thinking, that's where he fucking, oh my god. Like
Rats are real, the curses are real, the storm clouds are real.
Wait, I don't remember. Are we doing 3 hours or 4 hours for this campaign? Or did we say?
We'd originally said 3 hours. We got like
Is that what
40 minutes.
you guys were all planning on today?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have any necessary expectations. I'm like, if it happens at 3, great. If it happens at 4, great. I'm just here for whatever.
Well, it also might not mean, it might mean like we don't need to do at 2 hours the normal 20-minute bio break. It could be at 1.5 hours of 5 or 10. Like it could just, that's an interesting, 3 hours is definitely different than 4 for eating purposes and all that.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm digging this, the music today, Tim.
Thank you.
Definitely.
This is my favorite, the song that's playing right now is my all-time favorite video game song of all time. I love this song so much.
What's it from?
It's from Final Fantasy X. And it's like, I just love the tune. I like listen to it all the time. It's like from this island, that's like that just like is almost where I based Jaland off of. It's just like this beautiful sandy like beach island. The characters are, and it's just like calming and relaxing. You know what I mean? It's like
That's cool.
it's always got a good vibe from it.
It doesn't have as much beat as a lo-fi song, but it's very almost lo-fi. Like I would love to have this just on in the background while I'm working on something.
Oh yeah. Right, sweet. Everyone's back. Just to remind ourselves what we got to do. We've got some catchy looking storm clouds. One of them is keeping watch of the other one, and the other one is seemingly patrolling or watching or looking along the road that you guys were just traveling on with a big telescope. And as Moritaba told us, it's strange for two of them to be seemingly working together. Was unable to tell you the difference between a dark storm cloud and a lighter gray storm cloud.
Is it intuitively reasonable to assume in order to get, let me do something, to get towards Selkirk, we have to ascend this mound and sort of get to the other side to start heading back downward to Selkirk, or not necessarily?
That would be like a shortcut. So that would take
they're
you.
watching the road where we are heading.
Yeah, the road itself loops around the outside. So let me switch to a line. So the road itself would kind of be like this, but like farther. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Around this hill. What you guys are kind of doing is currently, if you just took a shortcut like this, you would cut across it. So Jay is left behind, like kind of over here more along the road.
Jan.
Where you guys came, Jan, where you started from. Is it? That's not okay. For some reason, it's not showing me. But like over here is where Jan is,
Gotcha.
and then the road continues. So they're watching because he's looking out this direction. They're watching the path that you were just about to walk down.
Yep. They're gonna see travelers there. They might not
The-
see travelers where we're considering.
Yes. If you were to take the shortcut and sneak past them, yes. Potentially.
I think it's. So, could we go fight them if we wanted? Do we know that they're dangerous? Right, we know that much.
Yeah, you would certainly know. Yeah, like I said, three most dangerous things in Jaland are rats, curses, and storm clouds. People in general try to avoid them. But as you know, today 3 days, 3 degrees from now, 3 days from now, the festivities are occurring. So there's a lot of people on this island that might not be used to potential dangers. When you were getting off the ships, you did see a lot of people that were unarmed, without weapons. And there's quite a lot of individuals on this island, more than usual. However, you did see a lot of people leaving too, so maybe they balance out.
So, is this a cautious group or an adventurous group?
Need not worry yourselves, travel companions. Moritaba will go distract the beasts on one end, and we will slink around the other side.
He will.
An excellent plan. Herald, sir. Let me be
You almost see a glimpse of surprise in Moby's eyes as his reckless plan was resiliently solidified.
Are we not planning on returning to the road? I believe Grandfather Jan needs to be picked up at some point if you are heading this way. Otherwise, I might return to the road.
Well, Grandpa Young hasn't paid me any money to care about his well-being, so I think he can just sleep on the road and walk into town when he wants.
It is also the case that he is clearly masquerading as a son of Jah amongst that faction, for we have had to alter our story forward so as not to clash with his own. I believe there is something afoot with that individual.
You think he's like a spy?
Unclear.
But I think Moritaba will start to try and like climb some of these cliff faces in order to not take the obvious path around and up the mound. Um, Basically hoping
So yeah,
to
this
find a way to get a surprise hit on one of the storm clouds.
Okay, so this kind of like path would be like a way to get up there without having to climb. So are you talking about like just going over this lip and trying to get onto this next surface?
I'd like to try that first before necessarily taking the normal path.
Okay, so it is maybe like a 10, 15-foot climb. I'm going to make you make a either athletics or acrobatics check in order to get over the top without breaking your surprise. You can easily climb up it with a little bit of scrambling, but this is more to see how well you can do it like sneakily without, knocking rocks over or anything like that.
I will need some athletics.
While he's doing that, can I like tap Moby on the shoulder and be like, "So is he like your sacrificial human? Like you send him to do the dangerous tasks?"
Hold your tongue, Kirinkin. He is a dutiful and loyal squire to the Order of the Four Winds. If he chooses to put himself in peril at to my value, that is his right.
Your value. Well, good. Since he left, I have a little bit of magic to spare for the three of us.
All right, so nat 20. Describe how amazingly you get up to the next little area here.
I think because specifically it's athletics. There's like, I'm pretty covered head to toe in like some armor, so it's not super easy to tell. But like Moritaba's got some bulk to him, and so like he crouches down and gets a pretty decent jump, and then just like raw strength kind of grabs some outcroppings and like kind of slowly and deliberately, just one hand after the other, forces himself up. Not really worried about finding delicate footholds that someone more dexterous might, just trusting his strength to pull him up over.
Yeah, and so you're kind of gripping onto, because you're just using your strength, you're grabbing onto maybe more sturdy parts of this section, so no rocks are kicked out from underneath you. And because you got a nat 20, I will let you climb all the other ones as well. You can get as high up to this as you want without breaking stealth.
I guess I'd like to be somewhere around here, kind of using this potential remnants of stairs as kind of like cover, as I look down and like try and give signal to Moby down below.
Got it. So just mechanically speaking, this thing has an active zone of about 50 feet as it looks back and forth. I'm gonna have it so that it lingers, but about every 2 turns, uh, it shifts from one to the other, kind of like in a rhythmic pattern. And right now, it's looking in this direction. Um, you, Tobirama, from your position, you can kind of really get a good look at this creature and where it's looking. It's really focused in on these kind of pathways here and the second one over there, the two that are closer to it. However, as it shifts its gaze, if you were to walk up those steps,
Right.
you might be in path of sight. But you're kind of just peering over the edge, and you can kind of see this big storm cloud. It's about, a large creature. It's like 10 by 10. It's a quite an imposing kind of structure. It's got these kind of little billowing arms that kind of like form and unform. This one doesn't really have, the one that's looking doesn't really have arms currently formed, but the other storm cloud behind it does, that are grasping onto this spyglass.
I guess from this good position, if the others are looking up towards me, I don't really even know that they will be. I will kind of begin to like give like halt and go signals to them, indicating when it's safe to um, try and make some dashes. Um, but basically, anything
So
that's looking up on this side, trying to give them a signal that they can move up the kind of normal path.
yeah. So for everybody else, you see Moritaba kind of just peak athleticism, clamber up one outcropping of the rock, and then another one, and then you can see him up almost near the top of this hill. He peeks out and he's making some hand gestures to you guys.
All right,
Um,
the rest of you, we are in a critical decision-making point. Do we allow Moritaba to be seen so that we can run the other way, or do we follow up his trail exactly as he did, thinking that it could avail us of success as well?
Fabulous question. If we strafe that way, and I want to point to the right, like northwest or northeast, could we like start stealthing up on the other guy who's keeping watch and like stay out of the guy's range?
Yeah, is that a question for me or for the others?
Yeah, that's just what I'm noticing and like looking at maybe proceeding down that path with that intent. I just wanted to confirm if I'm reading the map as reality is.
Oh, you're definitely reading the map as reality. You would be underneath it, and that would be kind of much higher up. Each one of these kind of lips is like 15 feet, so 15, 45, maybe 60 feet. Kind of
Oh,
like four separate levels, so maybe 60 feet up to where that guy is from that position.
if I use like using the stairway, if I got here, would I be in like? Could I climb up from there if I wanted?
Yeah. If you were a little bit, yeah, if you were where you were kind of pointing, that might be like 45 feet, maybe 30.
30 climbing. Okay.
Yeah. You'd still have to go, here, sorry. His eyes are going to go away, but you'd still have to go, if you're right here, you'd still have to go up about 30 feet to get to him.
All right. We could stealth that. We could go that way and be ready to surprise attack him from beneath in case Toby got or Moby. Wait, what's your name?
My name is...
Moritaba gets seen.
Yes, that is Moritaba.
He's the human
That sounds like a sound plan. What did you say your name was, Kieran Kin?
Telemachus.
Telemachus. Indeed. I immediately turn back to my ally Jay and say, this should bode well. 2 individuals are willing to close the distance from either side, availing us of options on either case.
No, I wanted you to come with me.
Pardon? What now?
Did you just say that out loud while I'm standing there?
Sort of a hushed, but I wasn't doing a good job concealing so I turned back to him saying, we're going to be good here.
Oh, and then I said, come on, let's go together. And I look at you like all innocent, doe-eyed, literally.
And I literally say to Jay, I say, pardon, just 1 second. I'm sorry, what now? Very well. Jay, it appears I will need to lend my services to their aid. Are you okay to follow at your discretion or hide yourself if required?
He nods. And then maybe this is the point where like Telemachus and Oakley might like notice that this guy hasn't spoken a single word since you met him. He's kind of just been nodding and using hand gestures to kind of indicate intent.
I start scampering off quietly, waiting for them to come before I go too far.
Do I suspect muttering an incantation of defensive spell casting would gather attention from this distance, or do I think I could pull off a spell right now?
You're definitely far enough away where you could say it quiet enough that you're pretty confident.
Then I will try to cast a spell. Before I follow, Telemachus, a moment. And I will grip my golden scepter, and under my breath, I'll begin to incant a series of phrases about dread and iron, which conjures a creeping shadow that begins to engulf my form. Some of the shadows writhe like black flame over my scepter, and it then elongate, granting it the appearance of an oversized sword staff that I hold with the hilt upward, more staff-like than sword, almost reverse grip weapon. The rest of the shadow crawls across my blue and silver vestments, slowly manifesting into a dark and weightless form of what looks like almost plate armor that covers most of my body and face, and crowns with a set of 7 horns that rise from the top of my head as I will cast Dread Form, which functionally is mage armor.
I watch all of that. Oh, yeah, I was going to do that too. And then I just I get a little sparkly dust on my feet for a guidance on my stealth. That's pretty sweet.
Are you in hypermobile form now? Can I put that other...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anytime I cast that Dread Form, I'll enter hypermobile form.
Okay, bye, regular movie.
Yeah.
So
I completely get encased with almost Vanta Black dread armor, and then this form of shadowy blade elongates along my scepter. Whoa. Very well.
This cheerful music is playing in the background.
Yeah.
I look at the robot. Does that freak you out a little
Hold
bit?
on.
I do not think I've ever seen anything like that. But since you two are going this way, I will go this way. And I will gesture back up to where Moritaba has gone, and I will attempt to scale those same walls to get to where Moritaba is currently stationed.
Okay, I will follow Telemachus's guidance for path. Maintaining a healthy 15 feet distance from him.
I keep waiting for you to catch up.
All right, onward. I'll follow behind.
And anytime you guys glance up, Moritaba's still just going.
I wish I knew what those things meant.
Coakley, make a athletics or acrobatics check.
We are going full bouldering, baby, and doing real bad at it.
Okay. Now, fortunately for you, these only like 10, 15 feet for each of them. So you're definitely able to get up and over it. But I don't know. Describe how your robot form makes it to the next tier.
I imagine that like every handhold I try to grab is just a loose rock, and I just haphazardly just take the rock out and drop it beneath me, and then I'll use the hole that the rock was in as another handhold. I'm very slowly and very clangorously making my way up the side.
Okay, so you're able to make it to the second level. However, you've made a substantial amount of noise, which has drawn the attention of spotting Cloud. And it hears some rocks falling, which maybe that doesn't indicate something dangerous necessarily to it, but you do, Moritaba, notice that this creature has moved closer to the center of this hill in the direction of that sound, and it is now looking in that direction. So, Coakley, you're not necessarily in its gaze just yet, but it is looking in your direction.
I'm going to functionally follow Telemachus's movements this way if I can.
Yeah. And at this point, I'm going to have us all roll initiative now that this creature has been alerted to something.
Okay,
Oh
cool.
my god. This
Click your tokens.
initiative's so much better than Telperians.
Okay.
I'm going to use my heroic inspiration for the day and re-roll my initiative.
You human.
Nat 20.
Two nats?
Whoa. Oh, and his nat 20's faster than mine. Son of a gun.
That be a storm cloud.
Wait a minute. There we go. And it happens to be the storm cloud that is watching. So its turn is first. It does not recognize or see anything just yet, but it is going to take its turn to move forward to this position. To look over the side of this cliff face. And it is going to make an active perception check against Coakley's stealth. So Coakley, make a stealth check. This thing is going to make a perception check. Oops, did not mean to roll it with advantage. However, both of them fail anyways. So, Coakley, you are able to kind of sneak behind these rocks here. But this cloud has used its turn to kind of get right up to the edge here and is looking out. He's like zoned in on your location. So if you were to move or make any noise or anything like that, it will notice you.
Got it.
I love this video game. That this music is from.
Hypermoby, you are up.
What if I just held my action to dash, making sure that Telemachus keeps going first? Because I don't want to run past you necessarily. Okay. I will.
You can do that if you'd like to.
I know, I'm just like selfishly, Hypermoby doesn't necessarily want to rush past the sort of defensive buffer Telemachus's body is first. I think
I'm like humming a little bit as you're having this betrayal of a thought.
from my position right now, can I actively see one or both of the storm clouds?
You can.
Okay.
They're hovering off the ground, so they're 5-10 feet off the ground. They're
And are they
levitating.
functionally large creatures? Are they fairly tall, amorphous shapes?
They're about 10 feet tall, anyway. So
Okay.
they're definitely standing out.
If we see it coming at us, Telemachus himself might start like turning and ceasing walking that way to like starting to look at like.
That's
maybe
what I'm
go at
thinking
it.
too. I'm losing interest in this guy up here
Yeah.
and focusing the one that is starting to move as the sentry. So from my position, as long as I have line of sight on this individual, I think I would like to mutter a different incantation under my breath and prepare a spell to be unleashed at a trigger of this sentry realizing anyone has come here. So if he is alerted to visual line of sight on any of us, I would loose my spell. I'm not exactly sure if me muttering and preparing the spell will draw attention, but that's what I'm going to try and do. So I'm going to functionally start preparing a cantrip. So I'm going to hold my dark weapon, reverse grip, like it has been, holding it staff head up, and I will grip both my hands around the hilt high in front of me, and I will mutter a few words that plead for the light of dawn to escape the dark of night. And a prismatic surge subtly washes through the dark appearance of my weapon, almost like a pearlescent oil slick on black tar. And then in one fluid motion, I twirl the weapon upright, so I'm holding the form of a greatsword, and I'm preparing a swing from a distance, should that individual be made aware of our presence. If he's not, I'll simply let my cantrip fade into nothingness.
Cool.
That will be my turn.
Nice. Oakley.
I'm assuming I scooted up against these rocks because I saw this giant 10-foot cloud start to peek out towards me. So, knowing that he's looking for me, or it is looking towards me,
You can sense it without even needing to have eyes on it. Like as you're like hunkered down behind these rocks, you can feel its presence. That feeling of like dangerous electricity is, again, even stronger now than before.
electric indigestion.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it getting closer and closer. I am going to. Ruler comes out for the first time. Oh, he's probably like 50 feet away from me, right? Yeah. Because he's
And
like up,
then 30 feet up.
yeah, like 30 feet up and 15 feet over or something. What is it?
Yeah.
Oh, he's probably like 60. I uh, I'm gonna take out a dart and I'm just gonna try and toss it over. I don't know where I'm gonna try and toss it. I'm gonna try and laterally toss a dart over to this area over here to the left to try and get the attention off of me.
That's where Moby is.
You
know,
point specifically. You like pick a square that you want to throw it to.
Sure, I will. Let's say just right here.
Yeah.
I like right here because it's 20 feet, so I'll put it right here.
Got it. I'm gonna make you make an accuracy check for that. Can you make a dexterity check?
Sure can. 11.
Okay, so you attempt to toss this in that direction, and it gets there, but it kind of like rolls farther than you anticipated it to do. So it's gonna be maybe 5 feet farther than you wanted it to. And we'll see how that affects the creature's gaze on its turn. But you do initially see it start to like rotate its gaze towards that like pebble, that rock that it saw you throw, or that it now can see. It'd be more like this. Yeah.
I'm gonna face back up against the wall and prepare to start climbing. Slash, if it's like 10, 15 feet tall, I might just like start climbing to the safest spot where I can hold on but not be above the ledge.
Okay. So you're gonna use your movement then right now.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Make another athletics or acrobatics check.
We are improving.
Above 10 this time.
All right. It's rolling its perception. All right, I'm gonna re-roll it, and I'm gonna turn off advantage.
Am I rolling
Where
stealth?
is? Yeah, you're gonna re-roll a stealth. You get up, but I want to know how stealthy you are.
Yep,
Turn off.
not very.
Why it's not doing auto advantage? All right, it's +0, so I'm just gonna roll 1 dice.
Oh,
Lord.
It is very intent on that pebble that you threw. It is 100% focused on it, and it does not notice you whatsoever as you climb up to the next level.
I will
Whoa.
do my best quiet scramble up against the next wall. Like belly down, full prone, hiding up against the corner of the wall.
Love a
Yeah,
quiet
you can-
scramble.
As you get closer, that uneasy sense, you're like moving towards it, kind of. You can feel that it's getting pretty close now. You can sense where this creature is without even needing to see it. Anything else, Cogley?
No, that's it for me. Sorry.
Otherwise, it is Moritaba's turn.
From this.
You saw a rock
position-
kind of roll underneath you.
From this position, seeing that the storm cloud has started to pick up on the fact that we are nearby, it is more important than ever that I buy any time I can for my allies. And so I stand up from my position with my longbow pulled taut, and I will take an attack at him. But as I am drawing my arrow and my bow, a very strong surging of wind is rushing past me, and I will do my silver draw true strike attack
Ooh.
against the storm cloud right here. 17 to hit.
A 17 certainly does hit.
Let's see if this works. 2 plus 2.
First damage of the campaign.
Yes, that's correct. 4 radiant damage hits the storm cloud as I then begin to stow my bow away and get my spear out as I begin to rush forward.
It's all radiant damage?
Radiant, all of it, yes.
and then upon Moritaba's action completing, I'd be interested in loosing my held attack, knowing that we have revealed ourselves. His alertness has been, his attention has been gathered by Moritaba. I would love to complete my cantrip if that's available.
It will. But so as this kind of magical arrow hits the dark storm cloud, you can kind of see, you get a sense that the damage that was done to it, this arrow, kind of it nicked the cloud. It didn't necessarily go straight through it. Like you hit it square on. It should have hit it like right in the side. But some type of magical form of this creature, some of that damage. So you have a feeling that it didn't strike true as though it should have. But go ahead, Chris. Go ahead with yours.
Okay. So having surged some prismatic pearlescent sheen into my shadowy blade and riding it, I swing it very forcefully in the middle of the air as if I'm striking a target in front of me. But as I do so, a prismatic ray of iridescence looses from my blade and shears through the air toward the target, that cloud in the distance. And the light continuously shifts and bends and changes coloration along its path before hopefully impacting. So I'll go ahead and make my attack roll. 22 to hit.
Certainly does
And-
hit.
And usually I would, mechanically, I would have control over what damage type, but I haven't learned how to control that yet. So I'm going to roll a d8 for 6 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So I'm going to say it does thunder damage, funny enough, to this thunder cloud. So it could deal, and I guess it gave me a different roll for each damage type, which I didn't expect. But if we're treating it the way I rolled it, I think that would be 4 thunder damage.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Wait. Okay. I got you.
Yeah. Let's go with that for now.
1. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
I
how. Yeah,
forgot
that
to
works
count
for
that.
me.
I forgot to count the acid, but let's just go with it. Let's just stick with 4 thunder damage for now.
Okay.
I'll probably streamline that attack next time in a different way.
Yeah, it works. I kind of understand what you're going with here. I like the flavor of it. So this creature gets blasted by some sound energy, but just as before, you can kind of get the sense that your strike didn't injure this creature like you had anticipated it would. However, it
Understood.
does take some damage. Yes.
Yeah, seems
And it is
intuitive.
fully aware. Yeah, go ahead.
As I see my prismatic shearing this crescent wave of energy that sheared off my blade and traveled in the sky up to 120 feet, but it didn't need to crest that amount of distance. It cycled through a bright, vibrant green, an electric blue, a flash of crimson red flame. Like the coloration almost carried with them a different energy type. So then when it turns to this dark indigo, almost black force of thunder and sound, as it impacts, I almost suspected, damn, that wasn't as effective as maybe one of the other colors of light may have done.
Maybe, but you also saw like the arrow from Moritaba kind of get deflected in the same way.
True.
However, this creature is fully aware now that it is, being attacked. It's been hit from both sides. Moritaba, any other actions, any other movement on your turn?
Yeah, so right after I loose that arrow, I will then stow away my bow and begin the process of reaching for my spear as I rush forward brazenly at this storm cloud to end my turn.
Okay, so it's kind of turning to face you more so than the other creature that attacked it from farther down the hill. As you are kind of charging at it, it's now focused kind of more on you. All right, next up, storm cloud number 2. It hears that thunderous boom from behind. It hears a humanoid creature running up, charging its companion, and it turns to face you. And it is unable to reach you, but it is going to charge you for sure. You are the only one it sees. It is going to take the dash action to get within range of you, Moritaba.
Oh, and I guess one other meaningful thing for my turn is having hit this storm cloud with my longbow. It has 10 less speed on its turn.
Nice.
I
Okay.
can zap faster.
Good to know. But this one charges at you and gets in an advantageous position with the other storm cloud. However, it cannot make an attack this turn, because it has used its action, and it has no bonus action, so it is Telemachus' turn.
Yeah, I'm in a pickle. So movement-wise, looking at this like hill in front of me, if I was to dash, could I scrabble up it? Or
Yes.
would it be better? Okay.
You could. So when you get to your position, Telemachus, when you're a little bit higher up in elevation, you do also notice that there is kind of like an entryway through right here.
Yeah.
So there is kind of like a tunnel that loops around, but I don't think that's going to help you get up any closer. But you do notice that's kind of like the natural route to get up.
Okay. So, yeah, if I have 30 feet of movement, and then I'll dash with 60. So if you tell me like where that lets me get, I'm trying to get to like over this direction.
Make an athletics check, and I'll tell you how far you can go.
Okay. Do I get to
Or
choose?
acrobatics.
I'll do acrobatics then.
Rock climbing for me, as always, it's either or because
Ooh, very nice.
depends on your
I got these
technique.
cloven hoofs of a nice Kieran.
You're like a mountain
Okay.
goat.
Yeah.
I was gonna slow you down a little bit. Are you dashing? You said.
Well, if I I mean, I think I need to get up there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, to get up there. So that would be
That's 40-ish.
yeah, and then you probably have like 20 more feet of. Wait, is your speed 30?
Yeah. Can I get here
Who's the
then?
fast one? Is that Moby?
I'm not fast.
I do have an extra 5 feet. Yes.
Let me see. That's about 30 feet. If you're dashing, and then 15. Yeah, you can. I'm gonna have you kind of like just cresting the top of that. You're just getting up to the top there
So like that.
when your movement ends. Yeah, you're not gonna end like midair, but you're gonna end like kind of scrambling up to the top of that.
Okay. Cool. And then that's my turn.
Okay.
Just swift of foot.
Back to storm cloud number 1. It is gonna back up a little bit. 1, 2, moving 5 feet away from you.
If I have the opportunity to, I'd love to try and stab at it with my spear that I've just recently gotten back out.
You certainly can make an attack of opportunity against it.
Nothing fancy with this one, just a normal slash with my Yari spear for 14 to hit.
14 does hit.
Okay. And I'm wielding it in 2 hands, so it'll be 5 piercing.
Classic.
Know the pain all too well. Now, this time when your spear punctures into the storm cloud, you feel a very satisfying hit. It drives deep into the flesh of this creature. As flesh would be the right way to say it.
Right.
So you can tell that it does like the full force of the damage. But as it hits, this creature shifts and change. Its appearance shifts to that of the other storm cloud. It is now shifted to a light gray color.
And I don't know what it's about to do, but similar to how when I hit it with my bow, it was slower. Now when I hit it with my spear, it's kind of reeling from that first like good wound on it, and it'll have disadvantage on the first attack it takes.
Yeah, and it's 10 feet slower, you said?
It is 10 feet slower as well.
Okay, so
Both
use
my
10
masteries
feet.
on the first one.
It's only got 10 feet left. But now that it has shifted forms, it is going to move back in. Its fists, its arms coalesce now. The other one didn't really have arms, but this one grows arms. And it's coming in swinging at you with its fists. It gets flanking advantage, which is going to be negated from
My sap.
your... Yeah, and I'm worried this is going to roll with advantage, but I do want you guys to see... So we're going to take whatever is the first number for this, if it rolls with advantage.
Cool. Oh, good.
Oh, thank God.
Whew.
My AC is 16.
14. Oh, it didn't show the words, darn.
It's showing to me rain punch gray matter.
That's what I see.
Yeah, but it didn't say like what it does. Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Is there like flavor text?
Oh well. Yeah, that's okay. Oh, it misses. It takes its arm and it kind of condenses, filling with water, and it takes a big kind of hook at you. I don't know. Do you want to dodge it, or does it block off your armor? Like, how do you defend yourself?
Yeah, I think like I don't have a shield, but I am pretty adept at using my spear to kind of slow down as much momentum as I can. So I do kind of going straight from the stab into kind of a warding staff sort of maneuver to ward off this punch.
All right, that was its turn. Moby, you're up.
So, number one instinct is, okay, shifting positions makes me want to reshift my position. I'm going to push past Jay over here so that he's behind me again. From this new position, can I still have line of sight on this guy that seems to be at the edge?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they're super tall and they're 5 feet off the ground. They're kind of levitating, so you're able to see.
I'll push Jay behind me, moving in front of him, and then seeing it shift its form from this dark, more maybe amorphous storm cloud to a more physical body with arms. I'm going to indulge a moment of suspicion and curiosity and do the same thing I just did, channeling prismatic surge into my shadowy weapon and muttering incantation as I swing it forward and unleash a spray of light toward it again. So I will roll my attack again. And actually, I'm going to try and do this. Ooh, nat 1. Unfortunately, it's just maybe the light itself isn't tangible enough, and it just kind of like it shines almost around him, but it doesn't pierce his form, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I'll stay there and relinquish the rest of my turn. As long as I am taking swings and standing in front of Jay, I'm doing my job, I feel like.
Okay. Oakley, you're up.
I am going to, hearing all this commotion above me, I want to attempt to get, like, up here right behind Moritaba. Is that your name? That is your name. I was down here. I know it's a bit of climbing and moving. I don't know how capable I would be at getting up there if possible.
I have to make an athletic or acrobatics check to climb up.
Acrobatics.
You got this.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
There you go. All right, you are able to get up there without using your dash action. So,
amazing.
You get into, I don't know, climb mode. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm imagining it's more like spider-like.
I imagine that I pick instead of pulling rocks out of the wall, I pick up 2 rocks and I find empty handholds and I just shove the rocks in and just climb up that way somehow.
Nice.
Okay,
you are now backing up Moritaba now.
And as I see Moritaba up there with, I'm assuming do you have your spear out? Is that what you said?
Spear is out now, yeah.
Spear is out. I opt for a bit of a smaller weapon, and out of a compartment in my forearm, a dagger comes out, goes into my hand, and I will just take a stabby stab gesture at the cloud right in front of me.
Make
the official robot term for fighting, stabby stab.
Stabby stab. A 14 to hit.
A 14 does hit.
Oh, sweet. 4 Pearson.
Yeah, this is the one that just
2 damage a turn.
What was that, Tim?
This was the one that had already gotten stabbed by Moritaba. It's the one that got shot by an arrow by Moritaba, and it's also the one that Moby blasted with some magic. So your dagger does pierce into it, and again, just like the spear, you do get like a satisfying hit as it stabs into this creature's flesh.
And where I feel that stab, as I take my dagger out, as a bonus action, I will come around with an elbow to try and get a nice forceful hit, unarmed strike on this guy.
Okay. Before you can take a swing at it, though, its color shifts.
Cool.
And it returns to that original dark color. Its arms kind of disintegrate. And it is now, once again, looking like the dark storm cloud that it originally was looking like. Oops, I shouldn't have deleted him. That's okay.
They look identical to me, but should one be a different color? Or
Yeah. I deleted it, and so now
it matters. Not that it matters to me, because
there
you
it goes.
Oh, there we go. I will. I'm still coming around with that elbow, but my head like cocks to the side at the switch, in opacity, and number of limbs. But I will take an unarmed strike. Natty 1! I am terrified of this cloud. And my
Maybe that shift in color maybe threw you off, and your kind of elbow that you swing at it kind of just glances off of its forehead harmlessly, dealing no damage to it. Okay. Moritaba, you're up.
Seeing my robotic acquaintance join me. Be mindful. If they go down, it's going to be dangerous. Be ready for rush for cover. And I will. I'm gonna strike at the dark storm cloud on my right, with the intent to then, like, immediately after, start moving towards the side of this one. So I'll start with a spear attack. 24 to hit.
Damn.
4 certainly does hit.
Again, sapping it to give it some disadvantage if it is able to attack. Damn, again, and I will do 4 piercing damage to it as I immediately retract my spear and go to turn towards the other cloud.
All right. 4 damage does pierce into this creature. It is starting to like leak water at this point. It's got like rips and tears in its form from the various like stabs and blasts that it's received, and it once again shifts to a
The lighter color.
lighter gray color. Yes.
And then I will begin to move away from it, trying to break up this advantageous positioning for them. Do something
Oh, it's gonna
that.
swing at you as you move. And as you're moving out of that space, it does have advantage on against you for flanking. So we'll take the higher of this roll.
My disadvantage that I imposed on it with another.
Oh, from
spear
Sap.
strike.
Okay. We will take the very first roll on this thing.
Cool. That
Nice.
7. All right, it took a right hook at you, missed. Takes a left hook at you, misses once again. Anything else for you, Moritaba?
That's it. I'm just trying to break up the positioning, so hopefully I don't get swarmed.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah.
So when they take damage, they switch color,
Mhm.
but no form has. All forms have been equally resistant to physical weapons, right?
Opposite.
Not
so
physical.
The physical weapons have been hitting it true. My Radiant and Christopher's Thunder were resisted.
Right. No matter the color.
I don't think we've
So
seen
far,
energy
yeah,
the light
that's
gray
the-
color.
That's something I intended to test last time, but I missed with my slash.
Got it.
So that is still up for debate.
Okay. Was that the cloud's turn?
No, that was the end of my turn.
Oh, got it. Oh, it was I got it. Opportunity attack.
Now it is the other cloud's turn, the one that didn't take the opportunity attack. It's going to spin about, and it is going to take a swing at you. This is the one that hasn't missed you yet, but it also hasn't hit you. Normal roll, we're going to take the first, whatever the first one is. An 11.
11 will also miss.
Oh, my
I mean,
cloud.
Despite how like unimpressive like conversationally Moritaba is, this is where he's like definitely shining and much more skilled. He is quick strikes, very fluid with his spear and warding off these punches coming towards him. Really showing off to be a very well trained in combat.
Sweet. Telemachus, it is your turn.
All right, I'm scrabbling up the stairwell. Gonna do something. Can I get to, can I get to this spot? I don't. Is this like I was cresting this, right? So I
Yeah,
don't
so
think I
you're
have-
starting right here. You're going to have to go around the bend.
if I'm there, can I swing at that guy?
Yeah, you can get right there, and yeah, he's
Oh,
within
hell
range.
yeah. All right, as I do this, as I'm quickly moving up and dipping around, sliding on the gravel a little bit, out from underneath my robes, I'm gonna pull out a scimitar in my right hand and then a short sword in my left hand. And I'm gonna come around, and as I pull those out, I'm gonna swing. So with my scimitar, I'll use that as the first. My first
Advantage.
attack. Oh, sweet! I'll just roll it again.
That's the one that is leaking.
Okay.
15 does hit, but you never know if it could be a...
It's not rolling again. I feel like I need to like give my computer a good reset because it's just like taking time. Okay.
The 15 does hit for 8 slashing, and I may have botched this the last time when it was hit, but this gray one, the physical form here, when you smack it with your physical strike of your sword, kind of deflects off the surface of it, and you don't get a satisfying hit.
Gotcha.
Oh, is this one gray or white?
This one is the gray, not the dark one. This is the light one.
Oh,
They're both
gotcha.
light right now, right?
Correct.
They're both
Yeah.
light gray right now.
In one form, they're more
And-
physical. In one form, they're more magical.
Yes, and it is gonna stay in its light gray.
Okay, I'm gonna swing one more time with advantage with my short sword as my bonus action attack.
Okay.
How do you roll it with advantage?
Hold shift and then hover over that guy button.
I just did it twice. All right. What's 8 plus crit? I usually do this on. I don't.
12.
Oh, that just did it for me. Okay. 12.
12, which gets reduced to 6, which is exactly how much HP it had left. How do you kill this first storm cloud?
Oh, sweet. I like to think like I'm kind of stealthy coming around the corner, and these two just don't see me precisely, but they see my blades splitting through it, and there's just kind of this whirlwind as my two blades cycle it apart.
Brace yourselves! Moritama will shout, expecting.
Oh, I forgot.
violence to follow.
Yeah. So as you slice through this cloud, and you kind of split it open, it's kind of like a water balloon. It's like a sack, and water just spills out. But when you slice through it, you kind of feel an eruption or an explosion building inside of this water balloon, and it bursts outwards. Everybody within 10 feet of it, which includes, I think, the other one.
Ooh,
I think
chain
it's everybody.
reaction.
Am I safe?
You are safe, fortunately for you.
Very nice.
But
robot?
Robo and Deer Guy and Other Cloud all need to make dexterity saving throws.
Oh, very nice. No!
Worked.
So Coakley save, Telemachus save, our Storm Cloud.
Telemachus failed.
Did I say it backwards?
Yeah.
Storm Cloud saves the other Storm Cloud. So if you save, You take half damage. If you do not save it, so this would be Telemachus. You're gonna take full damage, and you have the soaked condition. You just got splashed with a bunch of water.
Interesting.
So,
As there's detonations happening above with multiple people in the fray, I look back to Jay and I say, "My liege, it appears we have found stalwart allies willing to lay their lives on the line for your journey."
And Jay nods. 2 damage.
Took it.
Telperion. Telemachus. 1 damage to the robot, and 1 damage to the other cloud. The first damage it's taken.
Dead cloud exploding in front of us.
Yes, and the cloud erupts in front of you, and there's just water. Coakley, tell us how you dodged this like water explosion.
that's a great question. I imagine that he does a split, and he Jean Claude Van Damme, just like
super smooth, just down.
goes straight down. Yeah, as like he gets hit in the head with a flying rock, a wet rock from the explosion.
Yes, and Telemachus, you are soaked. The little blue dot. You got drenched.
Yeah, he's wet.
Very wet.
Anything else for you, Telemachus?
That is all.
Okay, Hypermoby. One of the clouds
Ooh,
burst like a water balloon exploding.
"Quick, while they are addled up above, let me help you down this ledge, safe to the route below." And I will sort of try and escort Jiri down towards safer ground.
Jay will be like, "I'll hold your horses there. Let's." He wants to climb up and see what's going on.
Very well. I fear for your continued safety. We must seize every opportunity to continue forward, but if you do not wish to without assisting them, so be it. And then I will immediately use a bonus action to steam bound.
Ooh. That.
Using one of the 2 uses I get per short or long rest, I will become dark mist, almost like a Death Eater, and I will translocate myself, surging as steam, as far upward these hills as 30 feet would allow me with a teleport. And maybe it's only like this high because of the elevation change, or this far because of the elevation change. But
Steam
yes,
stamp.
using
It's
my
like 15
using
per one. So you could probably
Say
get to
it-
the second level over here. You could probably get to these stairs. That's what I would say.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll do that. If it's high enough for me to like get visual on the cloud, that's what I would be prioritizing. Is fine. If we're gonna stay, maybe I can get a strike off. So if there's a way for me to have run back in a direction and steam jaunted, or cloud jaunt, but steam bound, somewhere.
Jay's gonna stop you before you make it that far, so that you don't have to waste your movement.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, I'll kind of go up toward this way, just to crest up the staircase sort of as far as I can, so that I can get eyes on the remaining cloud. And then, eager to hurry our jaunt forward out of this place, I'll surge additional power into my next strike. And instead of a sorceress slash, I will grip my staff before me, similarly to the other time, but this time I'll retrieve from a vestment a beautiful diamond, and I'll put it in between the prongs of my staff head, which hovers there. And as I channel the typical light and energy into my shadow weapon, the diamond actually draws into it that light, which condenses to a small mote of turbulent energy that sparks and flares and frosts the air around it. And then after storing sufficient power, I will raise my staff high and then slam it to the ground. And from the diamond's position, a blast of brilliance launches toward the target as I cast Prism Beam, functionally chromatic orb. 20 to hit. And
Oh, for sure hit.
similarly, I'm going to roll a d6 here to determine which damage type.
Okay, it's gonna be the last one then, right?
Correct. Yes.
I was just hoping not to get the
19.
5.
Yeah, that's so
19
funny.
thunder damage.
Good.
Yeah, so it's similar to the thunder previously, but this time the impact is enhanced and channeled and just surges within that diamond, using that as a focus of a prism. And so yes, it looks like 19 thunder damage toward the cloud.
All right, this is a big hit, and the first time you try to blast one of these creatures with magic, it was the darker version, and your results were unsatisfying. But this time, your kind of beam of, I guess, sound energy, because it's thunder, like rips a huge hole through this thing, and it starts gushing water out of its side where you struck it.
Perfect. It's beginning to look unstable. Moritama, defend yourself. And that will do it for my turn.
Okay. And this one flips to the other color. After getting blasted with some magic damage. It is now kind of like a dark color, and I know Jay's not on initiative, but we're gonna just pretend he's kind of like slowly scampering his way up, and he doesn't get as far as everybody else, but he's making his way up.
Love it.
Stokely, your turn.
I'm going to try and repeat what I did just with the other hand. I'm gonna toss that dagger to my left hand and go try and make a little swipe. Actually, as I get up to here, a little spin swipe with the back of the dagger, reverse grip at this bitch.
Okay.
My character sheet just froze, so I might just roll it if it. Oh, there we go. Actions. Holy shit. There we go. Please hold.
Please hold.
I'm just typing this out in case my sheet doesn't come back up, which it's not. I believe it's. I'm going to. Do I get advantage on this for flanking?
Yes, you do.
Sweet. I believe it's just +5 for. Jeez.
$14 hits.
Let's go.
You guys haven't missed once.
Holy shit.
Hold on.
I missed once with a sorcerer's burst.
Oh, that's
Dagger.
right. Yeah, the one.
8 piercing with the dagger.
This is the form that is not resilient to such strikes. You perfectly timed your magic, then your physical strike, and so your dagger pierce, does indeed finish off this creature. How do you kill it?
I continue spinning around with a like roundhouse kick to just like disperse. Oh, but I'm gonna get hit. I continue spinning and I do a roundhouse kick to the cloud's face.
Okay. You dent in its face, and again, like the other one, it begins. You can sense that it's kind of like jittering, but it's a different type of explosion this time. Electric energy kind of builds up inside of it. And so this one's a little interesting. We're going to have to do some drawing for this. Any creature within 25 feet and 15 feet, so from 15 feet from it to 25 feet from it, must make a DC, not going to tell you the DC, must make a Constitution saving throw. So I did practice with how to show this. So if I go to his aura, and I extend it to 15 feet. Oops. Anything outside of that, touching that outside line, And
We're not
this.
seeing the aura yet. You may have to click the little box next to it and say players
Oh,
able to see.
aura C, got it.
Yep. see
There you
that?
go.
Perfect. From there to sorry, it'd be like, hold on a second. I need to snap to the corner.
Alt,
I need
the
to-
corner.
There it is. So anybody that is the white, including touching it, and within the 25 gets hit by this. So it's kind of like the explosion kind of goes like up in an arc, and then like thunder and lightning comes raining down in that like circle around this creature as it erupts. So it looks like it's just Telemachus. Constitution saving throw.
17.
A 17 is successful. You take half damage. Ooh, are you soaked?
Yeah, I am.
Oh.
You automatically take full damage then. I'm sorry, but you have the soaked condition. So you take, it's not that much though. D4 plus 2. You
8.
take 5 damage. As like, again, I'm gonna describe it like an up and then a down, like an arch of electricity as this thing kind of like erupts upward and then it like rains down in a circle around it as it blows up. And is very little left of it. Just some like sparks on the ground, burnt grass, some water over where the other one was.
There's no ectoplasm.
No ectoplasm. Jay kind of finishes climbing up to the top. But you have defeated
I rushed to his side.
the storm clouds, and the top of the hill is safe once more.
Now they can't ambush us.
My
And
liege,
we'll probably
are you
collapse.
safe? Are you harmed?
Yeah. Jay just nods. Does nothing.
Well fought, all of you. You did very well atop this crest. I joined as soon as I could.
It was your wisdom and strategy that led us to victory. So, all hail the Herald.
Dutiful as always, and lending credence to your abilities and our success as well, Moritaba.
Didn't the robot kick...
Telemachus, Coakley, well done to you two as well. You would prove valuable allies to us in escorting my liege toward Selkirk unharmed, if you would have us as traveling companions the rest of the way.
Oh, speaking of escorting to Selkirk, and Coakley's just gonna start running towards the telescope, over on the the other edge of the crest or whatever it is.
Yeah, so when the creature noticed that his companion was under attack, it dropped to the ground, charged into battle, and you are able to pick up telescope.
I am specifically going to
Simple
try and use it.
spyglass.
I want to try and like scan the road to see if I could spot Jan.
And as you look through it, you can sense that it's not just like a normal spyglass, but you're unsure of what specifically it does just yet. There are, as you kind of like twist it and change it, like your field of view changes as well. Like when you're looking through, initially it's kind of hard to see, but you rotate it and you turn it, it clicks in, and then all of a sudden all the colors change. And you're not seeing like grass anymore, you're seeing different shades of color. And at first you couldn't see Jan when you were looking through it. The dense canopy of the forest below kind of obscured his view. But under the second setting, you can kind of see him making his way down the path, slowly, leaning on his stick. He's kind of made his way during this battle. I guess he awoke from his nap and he's making his way around the outside along the hill, kind of in the location where the storm cloud would have been looking if you hadn't had finished him off.
I
And
subtly say to Jay, what an astute strategy he was using. Knowing that I had proposed the very same for me and Jay moments ago. Not sure if this man was taking advantage of us or just seizing a chance.
he nods.
It seems Jan might be fine on his own. Shall we progress on this shorter, more direct route to? I literally forget the name.
The town.
Selkirk. Yes,
Selkirk.
indeed.
Selkirk.
Yes, we must be on our way.
I'll join you all for the walk.
All right. That's probably where we will end it for session number 1. You guys have defeated mysterious storm clouds. You've met Jay and left him to his own walk, and then now are heading towards the town of Selkirk.